going to call to order the work session for Knox County Commission, a regular meeting, I'm sorry, for Monday, October 27th, 2025. Seated to my right is Vice Chairwoman Kim Frazier and Deputy Law Director Mike Moyers. Seated to my left is Miss Haley Evans with the Knox County Clerk's Office. Don't see any elected officials, but I do see Dr. Riswick with the school, so welcome. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Rawls.
Present.
Commissioner Durrett. Present. Commissioner Oster.
Here.
Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
Commissioner Russell.
Here.
Commissioner Hill. Here. Commissioner Lee. Here. Commissioner Thompson. Here. Commissioner Fox. Here. Commissioner Jay. Here. Commissioner Frazier.
Present.
11 members are present.
Thank you. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Fox for the devotion.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the devotion this evening. I am invited my pastor, Steele Wright of Lonsdale Community Church, to provide us our devotion for this evening.
And if you will press the button with the little people on it. Fabulous. Thank you.
Correct. Yeah, happy to be here. As Andy said, my name is Steele Wright. I serve as a pastor here in Knoxville at Lonsdale Community Church. Just wanted to offer a word of encouragement for you all from the Bible and think about leadership and what makes a good leader. And there's a wonderful collection of verses near the end of King David's life in the book of 2 Samuel as he is about to die. He was a wonderful and just king over Israel. And this is what he said. This is 2 Samuel 23, verses 3 and 4. It says, "When one rules justly over men, ruling in the fear of God, he dawns on them like the morning light, like the sun shining forth on a cloudless morning, like rain that makes grass to sprout from the earth." There's just a few things I'd love to point out as far as some thoughts to consider for us tonight. And that is that when one rules justly over men, the responsibility of any leader is to rule justly over those whom you are given authority, and to treat everyone equally and with dignity and with respect, and not to be in a position of leadership for personal gain. David understood this very, very well. He also says that a ruler who rules justly is also going to rule in the fear of God, recognizing that a position of leadership is not something that means we are not accountable to anyone. We may lead others and have authority over others, but a good leader recognizes that they themselves are one who is under authority, ultimately to their maker. And finally, he gives some images. He dawns on them like the morning light, like the sun shining forth on a cloudless morning. Remember the last time you saw a beautiful sunrise that took your breath away? The sun just beaming over the mountains or the lake or your house or wherever you were, and just the pleasant feelings that brought to your mind. You saw the dew and the rain on the grass that made beautiful trees and plants and gives life to everything. Those are the kind of images that David has in mind of what a good leader is to be for the people, that he or she benefits them, makes their lives better, gives rather than takes away from them. And so just some questions for everyone tonight in whatever position of authority you might have, whether great or small, is what motivates you as you serve as a leader? Who are you devoting yourself to? And what do your actions say about you? Now, of course, David was not the perfect leader, but the one who was, and his name was Jesus. And he was a servant of men. He never lorded himself over others or forced others to follow him, but he came to serve and to love and to lead and to give and never take away. And so we are thankful that we have in Jesus the perfect example of what it means to use authority well. So if I may, I'd love to offer a prayer for the proceedings of tonight, and thank you again for this opportunity to be here. Father in heaven, we praise you that you have shown us what authority is meant to be. We're meant to rule justly and to lead well and to lead in love and service towards others. Lord, I pray that the proceedings tonight would reflect that kind of heart, that everyone present would think of themselves in this way, whether given responsibilities to lead, great or small. Lord, we thank you for the example that we have in Jesus of one who had all authority, who chose to use it to serve others, most of all by giving his life as a sacrifice for the sins of his people, and by inviting anyone and everyone to follow him in repentance and faith. Lord, I pray that you would just be with the time tonight. Pray that the city of Knoxville would be better as a result of tonight's proceedings. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. I'll now turn it over to Commissioner Durrett for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, I have invited Girl Scout Troop 20986 to lead us in our pledge. This troop includes Olivia, Kaylin, Maddie, and Abby Jo. If you all would please come up on our stage, thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, girls.
And I failed to mention their leaders, Miss Nita Sexton, Sherry Falver, and Sarah Singleton.
Awesome.
Thank you all.
Thank you, girls. All right, next item on the agenda, amendments to the agenda. Our additions are number 22 through 26 and 38. Again, the additions 22 through 26 and number 38. Deferred to November is number 34. Deferred to December is number 41. The withdrawals are 6 and 36. Non-consent, 27 through 30, 35, 39 through 40, 42, 43, 44. Again, that's 27 through 30, 35, 39 through 40, 42, 43, and 44. I also want to move, we have one person on open topics, so I want to move Ms. Dolan to the end of public forum so she doesn't have to sit through the entire commission meeting. And I also want to move presentation number 31, which is Friends of the Library, ahead of the honorary resolution. She has had a personal situation. She's asked to move in front of that. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Who was first? Okay. I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Fox, second by Commissioner Thompson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Madam Chair, next item, please.
Next item is the education consent calendar.
Second.
All right, I have a motion on the floor to approve the general consent calendar. Motion made by Commissioner Jay, second by Commissioner Hill. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. I'll now entertain a motion to set the agenda.
So moved.
Oh, we already did that. Jumped ahead of myself. All right, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item number 31 is presentation, Friends of the Library.
Thank you.
Thank you for the privilege of being here. This is Sharon Smith, 3109 T Lane, Knoxville, Tennessee. It's every October we celebrate National Friends of the Library Week, and we come before you commissioners to thank you for support of our libraries, and that's what we do as Friends of the Libraries. I hope you enjoy the desserts that we have brought for you. And just to tell you a little bit about what we do, the Friends of the Knox County Public Library has fostered a love of libraries and books and reading in the Knox County area since 1970, and we're proud of everything that we help accomplish for our libraries. And we want you to know that all of our branches are wonderful, and we support Marita Black, who's the director, and her team that just do a phenomenal job for the Knox County citizens. And I just have had a personal relationship with my mother, who just passed away, and I have to share this because she took me to the library for my very first time and got my library card, and I can remember that so fondly of that little Powell library. So please, I just hope everyone will support our libraries and just know what a terrific thing they are for Knox County. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. We have any questions for anybody? Commissioner Lee?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say thank you, Sharon, and my condolences in the loss of your mother.
Thank you so much.
Well, there's no other questions. Ms. Smith, thank you for coming. Thank you for the desserts as always, and you certainly will be in our thoughts and our prayers. Please drive careful, too. All right, next item, we'll now move on to the honorary resolutions.
Item number 27, R 2510-101, is memorializing Bill Williams of WBIR.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Durrett, second by Commissioner Thompson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm sure I would make the assumption that just about everybody in this room knows who Bill Williams was, our beloved WBIR anchor for over 3 decades. And Commissioner Thompson and I thought, who is the epitome of Knox County besides this person who has done so many things for our community members, and even continued on after his retirement. And so we have a resolution here, and is his family in the crowd? If y'all want to come and join us, we would love for you to. And I can remember, you can come over here, waking up, not wanting to go to school, my mom letting me have a few more minutes of TV time, and that TV time always included some Bill Williams. So he's very near and dear to my heart, and also a constituent of District 2, so I'm happy to be here to honor him. So whereas the Knox County Commission recognizes and honors individuals whose lives have profoundly impacted our community through service, compassion, and excellence, and whereas Bill Williams, a beloved news anchor and journalist, passed away peacefully on August 18th, 2025, at the age of 91, leaving behind a legacy of integrity, empathy, and dedication to East Tennessee. Whereas Mr. Williams anchored countless newscasts over 3 decades at WBIR TV, becoming the most trusted voice in Knoxville and a guiding presence for generations of viewers. And whereas often described as the Walter Cronkite of East Tennessee, Mr. Williams was a journalist who insisted on truth and accuracy in his own work and that of his colleagues, but beyond his skill and love of broadcasting the news, he loved his community and the people in his community, especially the children. And whereas Mr. Williams pioneered the groundbreaking series Monday's Child, which helped more than 1,000 children find loving adopted families, demonstrating his deep commitment to vulnerable members of our community. And whereas his reporting on poverty and rural Appalachian communities inspired the founding of Mission of Hope, a nonprofit organization that continues to serve those in need throughout the region, assisting nearly 20,000 children and their families every year. And whereas Mr. Williams anchored the annual Friends Across the Mountains telethon, raising vital funds for the preservation and protection of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And whereas Mr. Williams was honored innumerable times by professional and community organizations, and among the many awards he received, the ones he cherished most were the honorary Doctor of Divinity degree conferred on him by Carson Newman University and being inducted into the Tennessee Journalism Hall of Fame in 2019. And whereas in retirement, he devoted himself to his children and grandchildren, played the piano daily, and generously taught others to play musical instruments, continuing to share his gifts and wisdom. And whereas, even though stepping away from the anchor desk, even after stepping away from the anchor desk, Mr. Williams remained a mentor and friend to countless journalists, embodying the values of mentorship, humility, and lifelong learning. And whereas Mr. Williams was not only a teacher of journalism, but a teacher of life, described by colleagues and friends as a, quote, force of nature, whose compassion and faith touched everyone he met. And whereas, in recognition of his contributions, the street in front of WBIR bears his name, a permanent tribute to his enduring influence on the station and community it serves. And whereas Mr. Williams is survived by daughter Marceline Edwards and her husband David, daughter Angelique Thomas and her husband Wesley, daughter-in-law Crystal Williams Rosenkrantz and her husband Matt, and 4 grandchildren. Now therefore be it resolved by the Commission of Knox County as follows. The Commission of Knox County, Tennessee hereby honors the life and legacy of Bill Williams, expresses their deepest condolences to his family, and celebrates the incredible mark he left on Knoxville, East Tennessee, and the field of journalism. Please join me in recognizing him.
I'll just say he did set a standard that, as we go about our daily lives, that our eyes should need to be open to whatever needs we see in front of us. So it wasn't just a mission of his professional life, it was a mission of his personal life. So he definitely made a difference, as we all should try to seek to. But thank you all very much.
Thank you. And this is for you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Sure. You get to read it, though.
Thank you very much. Next item.
Item number 28, Resolution R2510-102, memorializing Ken Schwall of WBIR.
I make a motion that we approve this honorary resolution.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson, second by Commissioner is that- Rawls. Sorry about that. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If the family of Ken Schwall, are you here? You all would like to? Okay. While they're making their way over here, I'd just like to say it was very humbling because Mr. Schwall actually started at WBIR before I was born. And so I've always known a time when there was a Ken Schwall on our television, and digging into the history, I'm like, he truly is an icon, a legacy, with a very pure character that many of us would aspire to emulate. And so I appreciate you all coming here today. So without further ado, whereas the Knox County Commission recognizes and honors individuals whose lives have profoundly impacted our community through service, compassion, and excellence, and whereas Ken Schwall, a beloved WBIR journalist, is one such individual who passed away peacefully on August 14th, 2025, at the age of 79, and whereas Mr. Schwall had a long and successful career spanning 36 years with WBIR, where he began as a field reporter, did a stint as a weekend anchor, and filled the role of news director. And whereas Mr. Schwall's talents and his ability to get straight to the heart of what mattered to viewers helped establish him as the go-to reporter covering the energy sector and the impact it had on those who worked and lived in East Tennessee. And whereas Mr. Schwall had an uncanny knack for making people laugh and open up about themselves and those qualities, along with a desire to bring positive, heartwarming stories to people after what could be a heavy half hour of news, led to a segment closing out the broadcast each evening called Schwall's World, and later Positively Schwall. Whereas this wholesome and lighthearted segment ran for decades until Mr. Schwall retired, and it was through this popular segment that he further entrenched himself as a household name in East Tennessee by enriching the region with his gift of kindness, storytelling, and humor, and earning him widespread praise and admiration. And whereas Mr. Schwall was also involved in and loved his church, community,
contributing his time and talents for live events, voiceover, and editing work, as well as speaking to various clubs and organizations. And whereas, while his 36 years on camera brought hard-hitting news as well as enjoyment and laughter to many, his most important role and what he found most fulfilling was that of a loving and committed husband, patient and dedicated father, a doting and ever-present grandfather, and a loyal and welcoming friend. And whereas Mr. Schwall is survived by his loving wife of 58 years, Karina Schwall, daughter Robin Harbin, and her husband Brent, son David Schwall and his wife Greta, son Danny Schwall and his wife Jessie, 9 grandchildren and great-grandson. And whereas Mr. Schwall enriched, informed, inspired, and brought joy to so many East Tennesseans throughout his 36 years at WBIR, leaving a lasting and profound impact on our community through his heartfelt, uplifting, and humorous storytelling. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Commission of Knox County as follows. The Commission of Knox County, Tennessee hereby honors the legacy and life of Ken Schwall, expresses their deepest condolences to his family, and celebrates the indelible mark he left on Knoxville, East Tennessee, and the field of journalism. Be it further resolved that this resolution be presented to the family of Ken Schwall. Be it further resolved that this resolution is to take effect from and after its passage as provided by the Charter of Knox County, Tennessee, the public welfare requiring it. Would you all like to say anything? You would? Go for it. Yeah, please do.
I'd like to thank the commission for doing this, and I would like to thank Adam for calling me. He's the one who initiated this with us. And thank you for the love and affection that the community and actually the region has shown to our husband, and in his recent illness and death. Many people have been extremely kind and showing great outreach and compassion in his struggle the last year. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being the warm community that you are. And we're just grateful for a commission that would do this kind of thing, and for a commissioner who would think to do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This is for you. I think she has something to say.
So I can't let you leave without telling you my experience with your late husband. I was a junior in high school and was a lifeguard at Alice Bell Pool, and he decided that day to come do Schwall's World at Alice Bell Swimming Pool. And while I was on my break, he saw me in these god-awful Oakley sunglasses that I had on, and I got to be the subject of his lighthearted jokes. He was asking me if I knew where Area 51 was, because apparently I looked like a little green man, and what the dog days of summer meant, and all these funny questions. And of course, being the high school student that knew it all, I had no idea what he was talking about. And so that was my first encounter with Ken, and it was one I obviously will never forget. And so I just wanted you to hear that. He has affected us I was 17 years old. So it's so much fun to have had him in our community. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. He was a lot of fun. He loved the region. He's so glad that he got to settle here and make this his home. He's a Detroit boy who came to these mountains and never looked back. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item number 29, R25-10-103, honoring the life and legacy of Charlie James Kirk for courage to stand for his faith, family, and freedom, including the First Amendment.
Turning point.
Commissioner Lee, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I would make a motion to approve this resolution.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, got a
Commissioners-
motion on the floor and a second. Do I have any discussion? Commissioner Rawls?
Yes, ma'am, I have discussion. And it's a no to the resolution. but I'm opposed to any resolution honoring Charlie Kirk in Knox County. My My concerns are rooted in principle, community, and character rather than politics. Knox County has a tradition of recognizing individuals who have genuinely served our community, strengthened our unity, and contributed to the well-being of our residents. Charlie Kirk has not demonstrated any of those qualities within our county. He has no ties to Knoxville, no record of service in our community, and no apparent investment in the people who live here. Furthermore, Mr. Kirk.
Hey, can I ask everybody to stop clapping? I appreciate that you're supporting Commissioner Rawls, but maybe at the end because it's taking his time.
Furthermore, Mr. Kirk has built his national platform on division, not unity. His public record is filled with rhetoric that alienates and attacks particularly people targeting mostly minorities, people like myself and people like all the brown people sitting in this audience. His statements have caused significant harm and controversy nationwide, and to honor him would send an unfortunate message that Knox County endorses voices that divide rather than unite. At this time, when our community is actively striving to build bridges, support the less fortunate, and uplift the next generation of leaders, we must be judicious about how and whom we celebrate. Honoring someone who has no roots here and public record that is inflammatory speech after speech does not align with or advance our shared values of respect, inclusion, and integrity. I urge you, Madam, to reject this resolution. And in our previous conversation, when we discussed this last week, you said that you were appalled that people felt this way about the resolution. And I'm appalled that you brought this resolution as a person of color, as a Black man. So with that, I will vote no on this resolution.
Thank you. Commissioner Hill?
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Chair. Clearly, the fact that you folks are standing there tells me that Mr. Kirk had an impression in your life. I take nothing away from Charlie Kirk. I take nothing away from what he did and what he meant to many, many people in this country. I will say, though, as a Knox County Commissioner, this is the first time in my 6 years of serving on this commission that I have ever gotten emails and ever gotten phone calls against a Knox County resolution. That's very disturbing to me because by our own rules, our resolutions talk about how they are supposed to be specifically for the community, our community, to recognize and to celebrate and to honor and to memorialize people that have had a genuine impact on the people of our Knox County community. I am very concerned because the two resolutions that we just heard were, in fact, what our resolutions in our fine Knox County are supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about uniting, bringing the community together, and celebrating or remembering someone who had a special effect on all the people of our community. We are privileged to be Knox County Commissioners, and we have even made a way as commissioners to understand and recognize that we may not all be on the same page. We may not all feel the same way as commissioners. And this is exactly why our rules, the rules that every one of us worked on and voted on, allows for this type of thing. Commissioner Lee, I heard you say that you were appalled about anyone being against this resolution and being against our Constitution and our First Amendment rights. If, in fact, this is the purpose, is to stand for our Constitution and for our rights that are laid out in the Constitution, and a resolution would have been brought forth celebrating that and supporting that, it would have been a resolution that absolutely, I believe without question, would have garnered the full support of this commission and the full support, I would hope, of everyone sitting in the audience. At the same time, you could have also personally, by our rules, brought a proclamation that speaks to you and how you feel. You could have asked other commissioners even if they wanted to sign on to your proclamation, but you would not have put this commission in the position of a vote for something that it was very clear last week that several commissioners did not support and did not agree with. That is not supposed to be what our resolutions are about. I'm very disturbed that we've been put in this position. For you to refuse to do this, or for any commissioner to not agree to recognize this difference and respect it in their fellow commissioners is extremely, extremely troubling. To not do this leads to division. And don't we already have enough division in our community and in our nation that we do not need to take issues like this and promote more division? We are better than this. This is not what we as a commission are supposed to be about. It reeks of garnering headlines and political grandstanding. We are better than this. We are better than this. And as I stated, we have, each of us personally as commissioners, been given an avenue to speak our own individual thoughts and feelings and to recognize someone without compromising the rest of the commission, which in turn compromises our community in being forced into a vote like this. So I ask you again, Commissioner Lee, would you please consider your own personal proclamation about Charlie Kirk, who I have nothing negative to say about. Did I agree with him all the time? No, I didn't. Do I agree with everyone all the time? No, I don't. Do I appreciate what his attempts were and many, many of his beliefs? Absolutely, I do. Do we all abhor the way that his life was taken from us so abruptly and so violently? Of course, it would not matter who the person was. This is not something that any of us would choose or want for another fellow Americans. So I just urge you, please, Commissioner Lee, to just rethink and perhaps amend this to a proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Fox?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Division is sometimes unavoidable, but what was remarkable about Charlie Kirk was that he promoted the idea that division should be handled through debate and peaceful engagement, not in political violence, which has plagued this country recently. I mean, we had riots, Black Lives Matter, $2 billion worth of damage because people were upset. And we've had other riots more recently. We've had cities being taken over, downtowns like in Portland. That's political violence. On the other hand, we have
Okay.
Charlie Kirk. Yeah, thank you. Thank
Commissioner
you.
Fox.
That's exactly what I'm talking.
Hold on
Thank
a
you.
second.
Thank you for showing your heart, because you don't believe in actual debate. You believe in crowding out and shouting down people who disagree with your opinion. And Charlie Kirk promoted the exact opposite. Charlie Kirk promoted peaceful and organized debate to work
Commissioner
through
Fox,
political disputes.
can I just a second
yes,
stop you?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Audience, we're here to listen to everybody. And I'm not going to have everybody yelling and screaming over each other. It's rude and it's disrespectful, no matter what side you're on. So let everybody have their opinion and their say. That's what we're here to do. Commissioner Fox, continue, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So that is what is being honored today, because Charlie Kirk had a message of we need to engage in peaceful debate and not this alternative that was rising in our culture of angry violence in favor of a political message, any political message. So, and of course, his other primary message was his Christianity. But he wanted people to learn how to debate things peacefully, and he was actually assassinated for that very reason, because someone wanted his message shut down. So we need, as a body, to acknowledge and honor Charlie Kirk's message of peaceful debate in the face of shouting that message down. And I'll say the 9th District encompasses almost entirely the UT campus. And so I am effectively the commissioner for people who reside in, people who attend a UT almost exclusively. There are people in Fort Sanders, of course, but the UT campus is in the 9th District, and much student housing is in the 9th District. And I stated this last week that Charlie Kirk did have a remarkable impact on the University of Tennessee, and I think to fail to recognize that is to diminish the students who attend UT and were impacted greatly by him. So I think he did have an impact on Knox County citizens and people who reside in this community, and I'm proud to be associated with this particular honorary resolution. And I urge everyone else to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Durrett?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Charlie Kirk was a national political figure whose ideology and rhetoric, whether you're on his, were deeply divisive. I'm just going to say that. His views do not represent the full range of people who live in Knox County, and we as commissioners are elected to represent all of them. Every resident deserves to trust that this commission's actions reflect the community as a whole, not a single political point of view. When we use an honorary resolution to highlight a partisan figure, we misuse a tool designed to bring people together, as Commissioner Hill mentioned earlier about unity. It sends the message that this body endorses a particular ideology over another, and that is not our role. And once we go down that path, it doesn't stop. If we honor one political activist, we'll be expected to consider others from every side. And that's a slippery slope that turns our ceremonial process into a political stage, eroding public trust in the integrity of this commission. If a commissioner would like to recognize Mr. Kirk or any other national figure, that can be done through a proclamation, as was mentioned last week and tonight, that reflects that commissioner's personal view and not the view of the entire body. We represent everyone in Knox County, so let's keep honorary resolutions for local unifying achievements that truly reflect this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I won't, I think anything that I say would be redundant, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands that everybody on this commission condemns any sort of political violence, period. Doesn't matter what you say. But, and I believe that we have some University of Tennessee students here. We have the Howard Baker Center. I just want to read to you a quote by Howard Baker. He says, "Be civil and encourage others to be likewise. America expects better of its leaders than this, and it deserves better. This resolution is here to divide, not bring us together. Knox County deserves better leaders than this."
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, I'll turn it over to you, Commissioner Lee.
Okay. Well, first of all, regarding the rule, I totally disagree with your interpretation of the rule.
Commissioner, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
We forgot to vote.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We've got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lee and a second by Commissioner Fox. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Yeah, we'll do a roll call.
Commissioner Rawls,
Emphatically no.
Commissioner Durrett,
No.
Commissioner Oster,
Aye.
Commissioner Jackson,
Nay.
Commissioner Russell, Commissioner Hill, Commissioner Lee,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson, Commissioner Fox, Commissioner Jay, Commissioner Frazier. Does she want to go?
Do you wish to pass? Or do you wish to change your? No. No. The motion passes 7-3-1. So now, Commissioner Lee, I apologize, I was jumping ahead of myself.
Thank you. I won't go into debate. The motion did pass, and it's unfortunate that we have to be divided, because that is not what Charlie Kirk stood for. I do have the turning point here and other people that are here in support of Charlie. And Charlie did unite this country and the world. So I'm going to read the motion now. Nick, is Nick here? Yes, would you come up here? Nick is the head of Turning Point here in Knox County. Vice President, okay. All right, whereas Charlie James Kirk was born October 14th, 1993, was a courageous American patriot whose life was tragically and unjustly cut short in an act of political violence on September 10th, 2025 at Utah Valley University. Whereas Charlie Kirk was a devoted Christian who boldly lived out his faith with conviction, courage, and compassion. And whereas Charlie Kirk was a dedicated husband to his beloved wife, Erica Kirk, a loving father to their daughter and son, exemplifying the virtues of faith, fidelity, and fatherhood. Whereas Charlie Kirk was a fierce defender of the American founding and its timeless principles of life, liberty, limited government, and individual responsibility. Whereas Charlie Kirk, at 18 years old, founded Turning Point USA in 2012, a student movement with a mission to identify, educate, train, and organize students to promote principles of fiscal responsibility, free markets, and limited government. Whereas Charlie Kirk became one of the most prominent voices in America, engaging in respectful, civil discord across college campuses, media platforms, and national forums, always seeking to elevate truth, foster understanding, and strengthen the republic. Whereas Charlie Kirk personified the values of the First Amendment, exercising his God-given right to speak freely, challenging prevailing narratives, and did so with honor, courage, and respect for his fellow Americans. Whereas Charlie Kirk's commitment to civil discussion and debate stood as a model for young Americans across the political spectrum, and he worked tirelessly to promote unity without compromising on conviction. Whereas Charlie Kirk spoke at the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, Knox County on March 13, 2025, as part of his American Comeback Tour, which drew thousands of students to hear, question, and answer debate, and was considered by Kirk to be one of his most memorable campus stops. Whereas Charlie Kirk spoke at the Knox County Republican Party Lincoln Day dinner on August 20th, 2021. Whereas the assassination of Charlie Kirk was not only a heinous act of violence, but a sobering reminder of the growing political threat used by political extremists and hatred in our society. Whereas such acts of politically motivated violence are antithetical to the principles of a free republic in which differences of opinion are to be debated, not silenced, with civility, reason, and mutual respect. Whereas in the rise of targeted violence against individuals for their political beliefs undermines the very fabric of our constitutional democracy and chills the free exchange of ideas essential to a healthy civic society. Whereas leaders in every level of government, education, media, and beyond must stand united in unequivocal condemnation of political violence regardless of their ideology. Whereas the tragic loss of Charlie Kirk must not be allowed to deepen the divides in our nation, but instead serve as a turning point to recommit ourselves to be better angels and to the timeless American principles of liberty governed by truth and the virtues of peaceful dialogue. And whereas Charlie Kirk would not have had us respond to his death with despair, but rather with renewed purpose to speak truth with courage, to stand firm in faith, to seek unity while standing firm in principle, and serve as living reminders of the values he championed: faith, family, and freedom. Whereas Charlie Kirk was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest honor a civilian can receive. Whereas Congress has voted to approve this resolution that was submitted by Speaker Mike Johnson. Now therefore be it resolved by the Commission of Knox County as follows. The Knox County Commission condemns the strongest possible terms of assassination of Charlie James Kirk and all forms of political violence, commends and honors the dedicated law enforcement and emergency personnel for their tireless efforts in finding the suspect responsible for the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and urges the administration of swift justice to the suspect, extends the deepest condolences and sympathies to Charlie Kirk's family, including his wife Erica, their 2 young children, and prays for comfort, peace, and healing in this time of unspeakable loss. Honors the life, leadership, and legacy of Charlie Kirk, whose steadfast dedication to the Constitution, civil discourse, and biblical truth inspired a generation to cherish and defend the blessings of liberty, and calls upon all Americans, regardless of race, party affiliation, or creed, to reject political violence, recommit to respectful debate, uphold American values, and respect one another as fellow Americans. Be it further resolved that this resolution is effect from and after its passage by the Charter of Knox County and the public welfare requiring it. And I would like to introduce Nick Settle, and he would like to speak to you from the Knox County Turning Point.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nick Suttle, Vice President of the Turning Point chapter of the University of Tennessee. And it is an honor to be here today along with our President, Emma Arns, and the rest and some of our other members. I want to thank Commissioner Lee for initiating the resolution and dedication to Charlie Kirk and inviting us today. By now, everyone should have heard about just how great Charlie Kirk was. A man known for fighting for his conservative values and, most importantly, his faith. But he also made an impact in this community. Back in March, Charlie brought a tour to campus and drawed about 4,000 to 5,000 people. That is the largest student event on campus besides sporting events and concerts. However, his social media presence allowed him to spread his message to so many others in the United States and here in Knoxville. His main message was the epitome of free speech. Regardless of if you're conservative or liberal, Democrat or Republican, the ability to stand up and speak for what you believe in should be shared across everyone. That's what Charlie was for, and unfortunately, what his life was ended about. So let us stand together in memory of Charlie and fight for our shared principles that make us the United States of America. And it is sad to see that so many people are trying to attack our shared principles, the ones that our founding fathers agreed upon, and that was free speech, limited government, and so many other principles and rights, and it is sad to see so many people try to be against that. And that's what we need to come together on, and that's what Charlie Kirk stood for. And if we don't do that, our country will go downhill relatively fast, and we must stand together. Thank you.
I'd like to invite any of the commission that would like to take a picture to come up and join us. If y'all would like to come up here.
Commissioners, if you don't mind, I'd like to take a point of personal privilege. This is probably one of the times that we see most people here when there's conflict and divide and that kind of stuff. Normally, we've got maybe 10 people out in the audience, and most of them are staff. Truly. And yes, this was divisive, and we all feel different ways about things, but I hope the UT students will stay around because we've got other things to talk about and more county business to do. This is what we do in America. We're able to have our voice. We've got 12 people signed up to be able to have their voice and speak to us, and we will be respectful and listen to that, whether we agree or whether we don't. But that's the whole point of living in this country. So I think each one of you have given these UT students a great example of wanting to come out and be involved civically. And like I say, we can all disagree on some things, but we're going to find more to agree on probably than not. So I just wanted to say that, and hope we can move the meeting along and have good, rigorous debate, but be able to walk out of here and be kind to one another. I think that's important. Next item, please.
Item number 30, Resolution R25-10-104, honoring the University of Tennessee Extension Master Gardener Program for 40 years of service.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I would like to make a motion that we approve this honorary resolution recognizing the Master Gardeners Program.
Perfect. We have got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson and a second by Commissioner Frazier. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Commissioner Thompson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. unlike my previous honorary resolution, I am older than this organization. As Neil, I grew up calling him Dr. Denton, called and brought this to my attention that the Master Gardeners program has been here since 1985, and it's an anniversary for them, and asked if they could be recognized. I said absolutely, and the great work that they're doing. So, without further ado, whereas the Knox County Master Gardeners program organization was the first Master Gardener program to begin classes in Tennessee on October 17th, 1985. And whereas the program was organized by Doug Dalton and Harry Bryan, University of Tennessee Extension agents who saw the value of a program that helped Extension with public outreach. And whereas the Knox County Master Gardener program graduated 48 people in its first class and has held annual training programs each year since. And whereas Master Gardeners annually contribute more than 20,000 volunteer hours, valued at $611,000, to 16 projects, including the Tennessee Valley Fair, farmers markets, the Tennessee Smart Yards Festival, garden classrooms, and regular garden presentations and videos throughout Knox County and the city of Knoxville. And whereas the Knox County Master Gardeners organization has won numerous state, national, and international awards for its innovative programs. And whereas Knox County Master Gardeners' mission is to help build better communities by working with individuals, groups, and organizations to educate and serve Knoxville and Knox County by providing evidence-based horticulture information through events and activities that benefit all and foster a love for gardening and environmental stewardship. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Commission of Knox County as follows. The Commission of Knox County hereby honors the Knox County Master Gardeners Program upon the occasion of its 40th anniversary in service to our community and celebrates the contributions made each day by the Knox County Master Gardeners. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to the Knox County Master Gardeners. Be it further resolved that this resolution is to take effect from and after its passage as provided by the Charter of Knox County, Tennessee, the public welfare requiring it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for accepting this resolution. My name is Corey Holmes. I'm proud to be the president of Knox County Master Gardeners, and we thank you very much for honoring our 40 years of service, and we're still growing.
And I'm Ryland Thompson. I'm a Tennessee State University Extension agent here in Knox County and coordinate the program. And I just want to thank you all, commissioners, for passing this. And you'll hear more from us in just a minute. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Item number 32 is presentation, school security by Knox County Schools, Assistant Superintendent of Operations Garfield Adams and Chief Carlo Granillo.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, distinguished commissioners, Garfield Adams, Assistant Superintendent of Operations for Knox County Schools. Who's driving? Ms. Lochner, presentation.
There we go.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you all taking the time for us to meet with you all today and present to you all. Again, we certainly appreciate your efforts in ensuring the safety of our students. And this is basically just a presentation to show the investment that you have made in our communities and our schools and our administrators and faculty and staff and mostly our students. As you well know, security is our #1 priority. So I just want to share some information with you all, and then I have the pleasure and honor to introduce you to our new Chief Granillo. So starting with our strategies for school safety, we have a highly trained, bonded officer in every one of our schools. That is an armed officer in every one of our schools, and that's 91 schools. So there's a huge investment from Knox County government and our school board as well. And so that is something that is very unique. And as I get in the presentation, I will share a little more information about why we're unique to other states. We also have individualized safety plans. And so when we work with Homeland Security and Tennessee Highway Patrol and our local law enforcement agencies, each one of our schools have a very unique safety plan. And just think about the infrastructure of some of our schools where we have multiple sites on the schools, and some, the footprint is much smaller. And so when you look at those schools, every safety plan is very unique. So we vet those safety plans working with our local partners. And that is something that our critical site teams work on, and we evaluate those at the beginning of the school year and throughout the school year and the start of the school year as well. And as far as taking every threat seriously, we talk about the text to tip. And that's something that has been a very unique feature that is our families have welcomed, and they're able to get that on a QR code. They're able to text that information in. They're able to email it in, and that's a feature. It's an app that we actually have on every student device, and that has been very beneficial not only to our safety and security team, but also our law enforcement agency. And you'll hear me refer to it as the safety and security team. It's hard for me to get away from security, but Chief Granillo made me aware of some things. We are so much larger than just security, right? We have those unique relationships with our faculty and staff, and so we have rebranded with the help of Ms. Lautner and her team to the safety division, or department, sorry. So basically, when we look at our experience, 1,147 years of experience, and these are officers who have experience in local law enforcement and law enforcement abroad, and also a lot of our officers have military training. We've got officers who've been with Knox County Schools for several years, and so as you can see, with 123 officers, this is very impressive. We do a very extensive training. We have an academy, and we vet those officers prior to them being hired on board. But prior to them coming into Knox County Schools, as you can see, they have a unique experience. I do want to draw your attention to some of the things on this slide. For the 2024-2025, if you're looking at our statistics, the 3,309 incidents may jump out at you. The reality of it is we have 60,000 students, 91 schools, and approximately 10.8 million square feet of real estate. So when you look at that number in its totality, I know it looks a little alarming, but that goes back to those incidents. A lot of those incidents that we vet and take care of, a lot of those incidents are not as a critical response as you would think. So if you don't let that be alarming to you, when you look at the threat assessment, this goes back to what we said. We take every threat seriously. And we actually have a threat assessment in place. It's a process that it goes through the screener process. So a lot of those threats that you're looking at, they're screened out. They're deemed non-credible. They're transient. And so again, our administration and the staff that is included in that process, we take every threat seriously. The 208 bus ride checks, we have an officer who gets on buses with the bus drivers, and we actually have a bus ride check where we rate and score that driver appropriately. And so that is something that we will continue to do to ensure the safety of our students on buses. And the bus accidents, a lot of those bus accidents, I will tell you, this is my 4th year back in Knox County Schools, and I would get the bus accident alerts, and I would go into full panic mode. And a lot of that would be the rearview mirror got swiped, or there was a scratch on the bus. So again, those are just some incidents that we have. And to focus on the 22 no trespass letters, again, when we have 60,000 students, we really work with families to ensure that we do everything humanly possible to build that relationship, put those supports in place, and it's our last option to do a no trespass. So we work very closely with families and school administration to ensure that we work with families as well. So this is just your overall investment over a 6 year period. And then I can get into more detail, but as you can see, there was a hefty investment when you look at the funding from Knox County government and you look at the funding from our grants. I will say we work very closely with KPD and Knox County Sheriff Department, and that relationship that Chief Granillo has built, I like to say they're the brothers in blue. They've built a very special bond, and we work very closely with them to ensure that not only do we benefit from the grants, but also our local law enforcement partners benefit as well. So just to get in a little more detail, again, 10.8 million square feet of real estate. When you look at what we've spent on fencing, you look at bollards. If you don't know what bollards are, they're the circular poles that you see sticking up around schools, and that's to prevent any vehicles to get onto your campus where they don't need to be. And you look at the window blast film expenditure, very excited and proud of the work that we have done. There is I won't tell you because we do want to keep things confidential as far as our security, the information we share with our security to the general public. But I will tell you, I spoke at a conference a couple weeks ago in Orlando, and it was a national conference. And we were one of very few schools that had this it's called blast film on every one of our schools. So again, that is something that I'm extremely proud of our safety team, what they have done. And you talk about mitigating risk, that is something that we have invested in and very excited about that. Knox County Schools has always invested in our cameras and our upgrades, but this is something, as you all know, as technology continues to change, this is something that we ensure that we continue to upgrade. And so our annual action plan, as we look at the newest cutting edge technology, as you can see, we're looking at piloting a new weapons detection technology for potential scaling across the district. Again, I will sit down with my team, with any county commissioner who would like to have a conversation about that offline. But do know that we are investing in newer technology to ensure that we can mitigate risk, and we can get ahead of potential risk. And so that's what you see there. Again, we're going to always explore and advance in our school security to continue to improve our safety infrastructure. So when you think about our infrastructure, that's basically the actual physical security that you see. You all have made a major investment in our agency of what we have for our security. And you cannot replace an armed officer in every school. We are one of the largest school districts in the state of Tennessee. We're the third largest school district. And I will tell you, in that conference, I met with several chief operations officers, assistant superintendents, and chiefs. And one of the things that I quickly realized is, other than Katy, Texas, which is 100,000 students, we were the only school district in that room that was uniquely positioned to have an officer in every school. So that is a major investment that you definitely need to give yourselves a hand. So I know I want to be cognizant of your time. I'm here to answer any questions, but I do want to introduce you to Chief Granillo, and so he can have a few words with you. Again, Chief Granillo has 31 years of experience. His resume speaks for itself. I like to say he's a unicorn. I've been in education for 25 years, and I've never met an individual who has been a chief of a large school district of safety, and I've never met a chief of security who has been a decorated officer for Los Angeles, and I believe he had 300,000 people in that area. Is that correct? And he had a school district of 35,000 that is very comparable to Hamilton County Schools, which is in Chattanooga. So without further ado, Chief Granillo, if you would say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, Board. Honored to be here. It's been 8 months, but we've been very busy, so you may not have seen us wheels spinning and everything else, but I'm honored to be here. What Dr. Adams was mentioning, in my career, very humbly, having seen a lot of things, experienced a lot of things, worked for large municipalities, dealt with tens of thousands of calls for service every month, and also having the honor of serving as a police chief for a school district, police department as well. The formula and the platform we have here is unprecedented. We're the third largest district in school district in the state, as you're aware, and the 68th in the nation. And also, we are the largest public safety, school safety department in the entire state. And I would put that up against the region as well. And that's something not for accolades, but to give you recognition and a pulse of where we're at. And I commend you. I commend you for your commitment, our support from our leaders at KCS, as well as our elected officials. And bottom line, to build off of what Dr. Adams had mentioned, our greatest resource is a highly trained armed officer, and not just from the mere security and presence, but also their mentoring, their nurturing, they're having positive interactions, they're father figures, mother figures, mentors. So it's more than just that. But they're all taking a very proactive role in all our site assessments, our safety plans, working with our site leaders. So there's so many more components to that, and as Dr. Adams had mentioned, be happy to speak to anybody in depth, but also ensure you that we're being very proactive. As with all public safety, school safety, it's constantly evolving, and we have to be vigilant, and I guarantee you that we're being vigilant. We're approaching the various resources and security initiatives that we can put in place and that we are already building on at this point. So I can guarantee you we're some very busy people, but it's because we understand, and when I humbly say that we, as part of the men and women that every single day are committed to the safety and security of all our children, our staff, and everybody who comes to our campuses, and that doesn't fall on deaf ears. I'm humbled by that. I'm honored by that, but I'm very confident not only in my ability, but the ability of our department to be successful, be proactive, be connected, communicate when we can, but make no mistake that we're going to be proactive in dealing with any concern or threat or incident. So I thank you for your time. I welcome any opportunity to speak with you down the road. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And welcome to Knox County. I think we've got some questions for you.
Certainly.
Okay. Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for coming tonight. I requested this presentation, one, to meet the new chief, which I think is very important for our community and for our commission to know, but also because of some concerns in the community that were brought to me, and the need to sort of keep this top of mind. Just because we haven't had major security issues that we read in the headlines does not mean that we won't or can't be prepared for them. So I have just a couple questions. I want to say thank you first off, and congratulate you on the investment and the work. Certainly under our newest administration, on our school district and all the team that they put together, we've seen a tremendous amount of proactive work, which I welcome, being proactive instead of waiting and figuring out what happened after the fact. A couple questions. This may be part of your new weapons detection system, and you may or may not want to talk about it, but what are the systems going to be in place to prevent potential weapons from even getting into facilities? I have been on this stage and have been critical in the past that there's more security for me to go into a Knoxville Ice Bears game than there is to walk into one of our middle schools. And is that system part of what you're looking at when it comes to the access people have to our schools and the ability to walk right in?
Madam Chair, thank you, Commissioner Jay. That is correct. When we talk about mitigating risk, what we're looking for, especially with the technology that's available, we look at the invisible layers, right, that is not seen to the naked eye. And so that is something that would, yes, prevent it from coming into the school.
I saw on that, the one slide, it was sort of part of your 24 and 25 plan of action. Do you believe that those systems will be in place in time for the 26-27 school year next August?
So right now we're in the vetting process, and so we've went through multiple steps within the vetting process. So that is an aggressive goal for us, and that we would like to get there. But again, as technology starts to change, that is something that I will tell you this: there will be something implemented. I just can't say as to what it will be.
Okay, fair enough. Can you talk just a little bit about the training and coordination you do with other agencies, whether it be KPD or KCSO, on the potential for mass security events and what you do with your team to prepare for something we hope never happens?
So what I can tell you, and I would love for Chief Granillo to speak to this, in the past, we coordinated tabletop exercises, working with our local agencies. He has taken it to the next level, and where we've increased those partnerships, and so that looks a little differently. So I would like to have Chief speak on the work that has been done within the past year.
Commissioner, thank you. That's an absolutely great question. And I can assure you that we've basically supercharged what we've been doing before. And I think with any leader that steps into an organization, yourselves as elected officials, our goal is to build on the work of previous administrations and leadership. And we've really supercharged that. I identified that, not just me, but we identified it as an organization that we need to continue to build on those partnerships. And I have commitments from obviously Sheriff Spangler and Chief Noel. We work very closely together. I was crossing the country in February to start in March. And unfortunately, I was proactive. I reached out to them, but they were receptive because I didn't want to waste time. I wanted to make sure March 3rd, the wheels up, we're going to get after this and be proactive. But we'd already started building those relationships, which we all know are key to be able to have those conversations. But we also identified, and we have constant communication. We work closely with leadership from both organizations, as well as our federal and state partners, FBI, DEA, Homeland Security, Secret Service. We have very, very quality, good conversations with all those agencies. And also there's some other pieces from a security measure standpoint, but intelligence sharing as well is very proactive. But to your point is we've supercharged those sessions where we've actually done active shooter training even prior to the start of the school year this year. That Tuesday prior to, we were doing, I actually think we completed our 5th or 6th drill, multi-agency drill. We also work with various other state agencies as well, but we've supercharged that. There's more interaction, more collaboration, to where even our officers have like, boss, we've never had that much of training with our allied agencies. And I'll leave you with this, though. Our commitment with the sheriff as well as the chief and our allied agencies is we're all in the same thought process that we're all in this together. We hope and pray, we train, we prepare to hopefully not have to face any of these type of situations. But we live and breathe that every single day. And we can't get that wrong. And that is a commitment from all your leadership of all law enforcement, public safety, school safety, UT, all of us, because if that critical incident did happen or natural disaster, all hands are going to be on deck, and the communication is solid. We're building on all those relationships and being very proactive, and we've had multiple drills, and short point of fact is we've increased those drastically and significantly, and I only see that continuing in the future, building on those drills.
One last question. Are the security measures that you're putting in place the same across the entire district and all of the facilities, or are they site-specific, or does everybody have a baseline and then you build upon that?
Thank you, Commissioner Jay. Every site will be different. Every site will look different. And that's basically the landscape of the site. But when you talk about the similarities, the supports they receive, a bonded armed officer in every, well-trained officer in every school, then you have a regional staff member or a regional team that supports that officer. And so those supports look the same, but every site is different. I will say when you talk about the technology that we have for our cameras and so forth, those are the same. But as we look at implementing any new technology, that may look different. But again, that's a part of our strategic plan.
Yeah, and every facility is completely different as well, so it's a change. Thank you for the presentation today, and I would just encourage you that it's something that weighs on nearly everybody's mind, especially our parents with children in Knox County schools, and nothing is 100% secure. I mean, this room is not 100% secure, much like anything else, and so when incidents do happen, please over-communicate with the teachers and the parents and the students and talk about what happened and why, and you know, I believe it will breed an environment that more people will say something, more people will be proactive. If you are communicative with them and welcome into the process, more people will be part of the process.
Thank you, Commissioner Jay. And what I can say is I can assure you that we will be very transparent, and I think we've done that over the past course of 4 years. And again, I appreciate your support and your commitment to our student safety.
Thank you. Commissioner Rawls.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Guys, like the work you do is fantastic. Let me just say that. That we haven't been in a newsworthy, huge incident. One of the things that impressed me was 60-something thousand students and 22 trespassing. Just 22.
No trespass. Yes, sir.
No trespassing. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But you use the term that I've never heard before. What is transient threat? What is that?
So a transient threat is screened out to where it's a non-credible threat, so it doesn't go to the next level of the process.
Can you give me an example of one?
If a student were to say, I'm going to shoot Commissioner Rawls.
Hey,
with
watch
the-
your, wait,
with,
whoa.
with their finger like this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it went through the process and they said the student was joking. That was not.
That's
it.
a-
But
that's a-
again, we take those threats seriously. Like
But it's
that goes,
considered
it goes
transient.
through the process. That is correct, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hill?
Thank you, and thank you to Knox County Schools. I want us to remember that that this presentation tonight, most people don't realize that our school security division alone is larger than the majority of police departments in Tennessee. Just our schools. And sometimes people get hung up on the money that's not spent directly in the classroom and what that percentage might be. It is for things just like this, where unfortunately our money needs to be spent because we have this level of security needed, but thank the Lord it's there. And you heard him talk about the coatings on the windows. Has anyone tried to fence their home lately, their yard lately? Can you imagine? They've got fencing around every one of our, really, probably over 100 buildings in Knox County that we cover. You know, the security system, the communications and all. It's just really unbelievable. It's another community within itself. So these are things please keep in mind when our ask for school funding comes up every year. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A little echo of what Commissioner Hill said. And you all do an exceptional job. And having gone around to the high schools and the middle schools and the elementary schools, one thing I noticed was the consistency of not necessarily your security team, but just staff. Because to me, that's where it starts. They're the ones that are interfacing with the students. And if one of the you have internal threats and you have external threats. They're interacting with the students all the time, but you don't know what's going to come in that door. You don't know what's going to come in the gate. And so when we had an educational event, our space, we required enough space. We were actually outside the gate. But every staff member, every teacher, every student knew the protocol of close the gate. And it was just second nature. And so it wasn't, it was nice that, that had been instilled in everyone, not because they were scared, it was just what you did. And making sure the door was closed, the gate was closed. And it's something as simple as you buzz in, and just because you hit the dinger, somebody doesn't just automatically unlock the door. They're asking, what are you doing here? What do you need? Give me a second. And so that was nice. I appreciate you all doing that because I know you've had those protocols in there for a long time. And I did happen to, you're talking about the armed, well-trained officer in each school, and also the team outside of the school, whether it be KPD or KCSO, who are, and I've met a couple of those officers who were strategically placed between schools, so in an equal distance, if anything happened, they could get there. And, it was last year we had some false calls to some schools, but the response time from multiple agencies to show up in case something were to happen, and in those tense moments, you're fearing the worst. But in the end, when it was turned out to be a hoax, it was reassuring to know our team was on top of it. It was very highly unlikely that anything actual did occur. So when it came out to be a hoax, I applaud you all for getting to the bottom of that one as well. So thank you all very much for what you do.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Dr. Adams, I'm sorry. Thank you. You're always there when I call. which is probably too much sometimes.
You
Chief
can call
Grinnell-
me anytime.
Chief Granello, welcome to Knox County. Thank you for everything you're doing. And if commissioners don't have any other questions, then thank you guys for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner Jay, for inviting them. Next item, please.
Item number 33, presentation, University of Tennessee Extension Master Gardener Program.
Hello. Looks like we just saw you.
And I am the president of Knox County Master Gardeners. And I really appreciate you giving us some time to explain a little bit about what Master Gardeners are, who they are, and what we do. So I'm here with Ryland Thompson, who is our extension agent. And just to give you a little bit of background information, every state has at least one land-grant college, and all land-grant colleges have a cooperative extension service. Master gardeners are trained volunteers from the community who share research-based horticultural knowledge with the public through service and educational projects supported by extension programs. So when I say trained, that means they take 16 weeks of training, 1 day a week for 16 weeks, 2.5 to 3 hours of training plus homework labs. And then on top of that, to become a certified master gardener, you have to have 40 hours of volunteer service by the end of your, the following year that you complete the training. So, and 8 hours of continuing education. So when I say that they are trained, that we are trained to help people in the community. 40 years ago, extension agents Doug Dalton and Harry Bryan had stacks of phone messages from the public with questions about horticulture, but they didn't have enough time and they didn't have a budget. This is our, you can, there we go. So that's our mission statement. Okay. And then, so Harry had some money from UT Extension. He got a grant, and he went around to some other states, Kentucky, Virginia, Arkansas, to see how they were solving the problem. And that's where he found out about the Master Gardener program. So he came back and talked to Doug and said, what do you think about this? And Doug said, that sounds pretty good. Let's try it. So they developed a curriculum. And they taught the first class of 48 students on October 17th, 1985, right here at the Carnes Community Center here in Knoxville. And that was the first Master Gardener intern training class in the state of Tennessee. And KCMG's been training new groups of volunteers every year for 40 years since then. Okay, so who we are. Here's just a few pictures of us, but we are, again, founded in 1985, so we celebrated 40 years to the day about a little over a week ago. We're chartered as an auxiliary resource to UTTSU, agricultural agents. As I said, we're a trained volunteer organization, and we are a designated charitable 501c3 as of November 2020. You may recognize a couple of those guys. Rylan and Neil Denton are our current agents, and on the right are Harry Bryan and Doug Dalton, who were the UT Extension agents who started KCMG. And we had a celebration a little over a week ago, and they were able to attend, and we were very pleased to have them there. And after that, I would say that from community gardens and demonstration plots to answering questions at farmers markets and teaching classes on sustainable gardening practices, our impact is visible, lasting, and deeply valued. So 40 years is a long time. And the organization Doug and Harry began has grown and flourished beyond their wildest dreams. So at this time, I'll turn things over to our superb and seemingly tireless extension agent, Rylan Thompson, to tell you a little bit about KCMG as it is today.
Awesome. Thank you, Corey. Thank you for commissioners for letting us come up and brag on our organization. And I apologize. Normally I pace a lot, and our volunteers joke they need to nail my feet down, so I'll stay in one spot. So. That being said, a little bit about our organization. So some of these stats are from just this year, and then some are from 2024. But in 2025, we trained 42 interns. So they took the 40 hours of training, and that covers everything from basic soil science to botany to weed management to fruit and vegetable production. And then from those 42, we have over 21 that are certified at this point, which is pretty much unheard of in our organization. Currently, we have over 240 active volunteers serving in the community. We have an 11-member board of directors, 6 standing committees, including our intern training committee, awards, membership communications, finance, and programs. This is where it's just crazy what our organization does. So each year, Corey mentioned earlier, over 20,000 hours are contributed annually. That being said, none of our volunteers are paid for this time. They donate time out of their busy lives to make the community a better place. So in 2024, those volunteers contributed 22,800 hours, and that's valued at over $680,000 according to the independent sector. And that's the salary. I didn't put a solid number in here, but generally about 10 extension agents or more. They drove over 89,000 miles, so that's the equivalent from our office in this building to UTIA campus 17,000 times. That's 209 round trips from this building to the Atlanta Botanical Garden, 17 round trips to Seattle, Washington, or 4 round trips to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, where Corey took her trip over the winter. Community impact, so next slide. So we have 16 ongoing projects throughout the county. We have 6 of those that are based in ornamental horticulture, 4 in gardens, so that would be vegetable or fruit production. And we have 6 outreach projects, outreach being events like our farmers markets, our phone lines, our speakers bureau, and including our speakers bureau YouTube videos. They've produced over 12,900 pounds of produce in 2024, which was donated back into community pantries across the county. Our Concord partnership with Concord United Methodist Church produced around 20,000 flower stems, which were given to the community through their CADES program. And then our volunteers participated in over 102 community events, reaching an estimated 3,800 citizens. And then our educational outreach events totaled over 48 and reaching around 12,600. Our youth project at Hardin Valley Elementary School in the Garden, if you're not aware, we have some awesome volunteers that are involved at that school, and they reached over 1,200 of those youth through their programming. Our volunteers through our Ask a Master Gardener program answered around 135 questions through phone calls and emails in 2024. And last statistic was over 139,000, but just our YouTube videos alone through our Speakers Bureau and Prune Like a Pro are over 140,000 at this point. So, and then more excitingly, recently in 2025, our Master Gardeners, they received 5 top 3 International Search for Excellence awards, including first place in the Smart Yards and Friends, or for the Smart Yards and Friends Festival in the workshop presentation category. So all these are huge numbers, and I love bragging on them in that way, but what really matters to us as an organization and to our volunteers is that one-on-one connection that they make with members of the community. So I just have a couple of stories, and I will leave you with these. On any given day that we are working there, and let me back up, these words are from our volunteers and our project reports. So this is from our partnership with the Knox Botanical Garden and Arboretum. On any given day that we are working there, we will engage with at least a handful of visitors, answering questions about the property, its history, wayfinding particular plants, the ideas behind particular garden areas, availability of facilities for use by groups, garden, bed rentals, children's programs, and more. And one of our newer projects, which is our garden classroom, this was a program they done last year, and this is just an excellent program that they did. So our volunteer leader for them said that Bridge Refugees, the organization, took registrations for this class. Approximately 10 Congolese women attended, plus their interpreter who donated her time for the class. When the class was taken to see the raised beds that they could adopt, their huge smiles and excitement were rewarding, especially after they were assured that the beds could not be taken from them. So these women had lived for many years in camps in various countries, and our volunteers were tearful telling us these stories that they were so excited that they were in tears that those beds could not be taken from them. So with that, I will open up the floor for any questions from the commissioners.
Thank you. It's great information. Commissioner Fox?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to state my appreciation for you all. During COVID, I underwent what was a 30-year plan to become a gardener. I finally did it because COVID afforded time, and I learned all too well that when Bloomberg said a few years ago that when it comes to farming and gardening, you just put a seed and some dirt on top of it, that ain't true. And it's a lot of hard work, and it takes a lot of brains and a lot of understanding. It's science. It's science, and I really appreciate that you all want to pass that wisdom to the local community.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all again for coming and your expertise. I don't think a lot of folks really understand just the depth of knowledge that you all have in various segments. So, master gardening, are we from raising flowers to vegetables to actually market gardens, and there's a wide variety of things that you all tackle and educate on, and you're so willing to share that information and knowledge. As some folks would find it odd to believe, I enrolled in the New Farmer Academy, and that Ryland was a part of and was one of the instructors. And when we were in the various classes that dealt on small vegetable production and fruit production and flower production, and everything, multiple times the Master Gardener program was mentioned. And the information that you all have gained through trial and error and research and just collaboration with each other, and how willing you all are to share that information. And whether it work in market gardens or community gardens, so this isn't just something you're wanting to do in your backyard. This is something that when communities are trying to feed themselves and integrate community gardens, say, how do we become more self-sustaining? The Master Gardener program is there to say, this is how you do it. This is how you can be successful, and you can learn from years of research, and you don't have to make your own mistakes to figure it out. And so that is invaluable to a lot of people, and I hope that through this, excited because this allows you to, tell your story and what you do and what you've been doing for the last 40 years. And I hope that more folks will reach out to you and join the program, and their community would be better for it. Thank you.
On that note, we are recruiting people for that 2026 class. So if you go to knoxcountymastergardeners.org, you can click on Join Us and become a Master Gardener yourself.
That's awesome. I did love to see the pollinator gardens because we have a pocket park going in my district, and it's just going to be a pollinating walking trail, which is really cool. So thank you all for coming. Thank you for all the information. We appreciate it. Thank you. I hope you have a good evening.
Thank you, commissioners.
Commissioner Thompson, thank you for inviting them. Commissioners, your chair got a little overzealous and didn't vote on the consent calendar. So do I have a motion, please? All right, thank you. I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jay, second by Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Commissioners, if it's okay with you, we're going to take a 10-minute break because we have a lot of speakers and I don't want to stop in between those, and we will be back in 10 minutes. All right. Madam Clerk, next item, please. If everybody can take their seats so we can get started.
Our next item is public forum for agenda items only.
All right. We have a lot of speakers signed up, so we're going to do 3 minutes apiece on each item. So when I call your name, please come down. If the light's not on the microphone, hit the little two-person. The first person is Rashad Woods. Thank you, Commissioner Jay. Okay. Oh, there you are. And if everybody will give their name and county residence, please, and you will have 3 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Woods.
Rashad Woods, Knox County. Good evening, chairpersons, member of the County Commission, and neighbors gathered here tonight. I stand before you to speak against the resolution honoring Charlie Kirk. My stance is not a reflection on personal beliefs or a judgment of individuals, but a call to recognize the harm that polarization can inflict on the fabric of our community and the responsibility of this body to govern in a way that unites and not divide. The job as representatives of people is to act with fairness, deliberation, and an unwavering commitment to the common good. When we consider honoring a figure who has become a focal point of sharp disagreement and hurt for many in our community, we must weigh more than the headlines or ideological posture. We must weigh the real-world impact of our neighbors, school, and local institutions, and the trust that underpins our democratic process. Polarization is corrosive. It feeds fear, widens rifts, and makes constructive dialogue nearly impossible. When a public ceremony or accolade is perceived as endorsing a public agenda, it sends a message to constituents who already have marginalized or attacked that their lived experiences do not matter in the halls of local power. Offense and hurt are real, and they deserve serious attention. People in our community have experienced offense and harm stemming from the rhetoric and positions associated with some public figures. It is not productive to dismiss those feelings as a mere political disagreement. Public institutions must acknowledge pain, practice empathy, and strive to create spaces where all residents can feel heard and respected. And yes, the same concern surfaces across different histories. Some residents voice hesitation about the kind of figures who are celebrated publicly, drawing parallels to other historical voices whose impact continues to spark debate. Those parallels are not meant to diminish any group or individual. They are a reminder that our community is diverse in its memories, its traumas, and also its inspirations. Impartial government is our duty. The role of government is not to champion any single ideology, but to safeguard rights, ensure safety, and promote opportunity for all. When we honor individuals whose public actions have been interpreted as harmful or exclusionary, by segments of our population, we risk eroding the trust that this government relies on to function effectively. If we are truly committed to unity, we should ask the hard questions. Does this resolution advance the welfare of the broad, diverse community we serve? Will it encourage constructive dialogue across differences, or will it harden tribes and deepen resentment? Can we pursue policies and ceremonies that bring people together rather than highlight fault lines? There are constructive alternatives that can honor civic engagement and free speech without endorsing controversy or deepening divisions. To the commission, I urge you to consider not just what a resolution says about a single figure, but what it says about you as stewards of this county. Do you want a message that signals exclusion and division, or one that signals commitment to every resident's dignity, safety, and ability to participate fully in public life? Hopefully, you will choose the path of deliberation, inclusion, and shared purpose. Let us demonstrate that in our county, the government remains an impartial facilitator, protects rights, fostering dialogue, and uniting this diverse community towards common goals. In doing so, you will honor not just the ideas you profess, but the people that you serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. Okay, next speaker is Drusilla. And I'm going to butcher your last name. And for somebody who always gets their last name butchered, I don't want to be disrespectful. So if you will give me your name and county residence.
I am Drusilla Mugorewera.
Thank you. I would not have got that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dear Commissioners, I plan to speak on two resolutions. And I think that as a Christian and faithful daughter of God, like Charlie Kirk, I'm also a mother of children who are in 30s and grandmother. I praise God for the vision given to Charlie Kirk and co-founder of Turning Point USA with great mission. This is his legacy. And I ask God, who died for our sins, for forgiveness and healing for all the people who were somehow offended by my brother, Charlie Kirk. Forgiveness is something we overlook. And it can, if it is not taken for good, it can bring the curse to different generations. So I ask for forgiveness for those ones who were offended. Nobody commended to me to do this, but as a Christian, I think those ones who were offended by his actions and intentions feel peaceful. And also I pray that the legacy forward is based on the legacy of the fruit of the Holy Spirit, which are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. More efforts are needed to protect young people from isolation and loneliness. Dependence on the social media and trauma in many families still lives for young people. We need more debate in those areas as well as faith in action, starting from home. In John 14th, Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. And I think in the resolution that passed, there are some not truth in that. This is why if I had the right to vote, I would not vote for that resolution. I also want to speak about the one that is making obligated to report about helping people who are not documented. Many of you know that I came this country as a refugee, political refugee in 2009. And I'm grateful that Knoxvillians gave me refuge. But having a mask of refugee doesn't exclude the sanctity of every human being. If you are documented or undocumented, you are a sacred human being. And I think that taking away the right and the power of nonprofit to serve people in need created in God's image is against the church work and God's work. And in Proverbs 16, verse 8, the Lord says, "Better a little with virtue than a large income with injustice." And I hope you commissioners, you give the money for the people who are in need. We have many trauma, we have many homelessness in our community. But remember, these immigrants are building our communities, paying, they work, they don't even get tax return. Why they get paid the taxes? Let us be just to these people so our community may be prosperous. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is Paul De Leon.
I'm Paul DeLeon, 630 Watauga Avenue, Knoxville. I'm speaking to item 9, the resolution to approve the $100,000 grant to the Sheriff's Office for Immigration Enforcement. This small grant offsets some of the extra costs to Knox taxpayers of the Sheriff's service to ICE since 2017, but cannot come close to repairing the long-term damage to our community. You should reject it. If this is the era of limited government, why would you encourage KCSO's limitless bureaucratic bloat? If you are serious about saving money, you should get rid of the 287G program entirely. Knox County should not be in the business of mass deportations, period. The Sheriff's Department should focus on protecting us from criminals, not tearing our neighbors from their jobs, homes, and families. By now, you all must know that the administration's claim to be deporting only criminals is a bald-faced lie. In a sign of their contempt that they think they can bamboozle you this way. Just look at the stats. The great majority of immigrants held in the sheriff's jail and jails all over the country are held for immigration violations, not for any harm they have done to our community. While ICE carries out indiscriminate mass arrests, our president welcomes white South Africans like Elon Musk. So we know their motives, and they have nothing to do with keeping us safe. I used to think of ethnic cleansing, and that's exactly what these mass deportations are, as something that takes place in countries run by dictators like Iraq, Myanmar, Sudan, Nazi Germany, Stalin's Russia. I think of the warlords of the Bible who deported Jews to Babylon and the merchants who sold millions of Africans into slavery. Let us not kid ourselves. We're not sending these folks back home. This is their home, Knox County, Tennessee. Many have been here 10 or 20 years, graduated high school, raised families, bought homes, built businesses, established churches. And if you are calculating that beating up on immigrants is a smart thing politically, let me say I doubt many voters will appreciate gangs of masked federal gun thugs raiding and ravaging our neighborhoods. Please let us not shrug our shoulders saying that's the law. Slavery, segregation, Jim Crow, Hitler's Nuremberg laws, these were all in legal form and vicious and unjust, part of a bigger lawlessness. The winners write history, so I have no idea whether generations from now people will look back on our actions today with horror and disgust, as we now look back on the Trail of Tears and the refusal to shelter Jews fleeing Nazi concentration camps. But you and I will know what this is really all about. Please, let's get out of the business of mass deportations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeLeon. Thank you. Mr. Michael O'Malley.
Hi, Michael O'Malley, Knox County. I signed up for 3 items, so do I just tell you when I'm switching to the new item?
You
or?
can.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you'll just give your name and county of residence.
Oh, yes, Michael O'Malley, Knox County.
Thank you.
So the first that I'm speaking on is the same one that the previous gentleman did. I'd like to encourage the commission to reject the grant of $102,482 to Knox County Sheriff for immigration enforcement. I remember hearing about 287G for the first time back when we had Sheriff J.J. Jones, and when he was first denied a 287G contract by Department of Homeland Security, he announced in a public statement that, quote, "If need be, I will stack these violators, the immigrants, like cordwood in the Knox County Jail until the appropriate federal agency responds." That sticks in my mind because of the real invective of those words. I mean, the simile kind of says it all, right? Like cordwood. These are, it's about as directly dehumanizing as you can get, comparing human beings to construction materials in the service of expressing a desire to lock them up. Since then, the language around 287G hasn't always been quite as colorful as our former Sheriff Jones's, but the logic remains the same. And as was previously mentioned, that's to say nothing of how the reality of 287G has not even followed the initial stated goal of removing, and again, this is a direct quote from the former sheriff, the worst criminals in our community, 0.1%, the baddest of the bad, unquote. Since its adoption, Knox County's 287G contract has overwhelmingly detained people with misdemeanor and nonviolent offenses. And not that that really matters, really. Per the sheriff's own words back in 2013, the operative feature of 287G is the ability to pile up immigrants in jail, not address crime. I'd like to think that our sheriff's department should be able to address crime without it coupling to immigration and detention. And if they can't do that, then maybe the sheriff's office has some questions to ask themselves internally. I'm also struck by the contrast between that rhetoric surrounding the formation of Knox County's 287G contract and that of the Bible, a favorite book by Knox County honoree Charlie Kirk of note. Leviticus says that the foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Hebrews says not to forget to show hospitality to strangers and to remember those in prison as if you were together with them in prison. So I'd like to remind the commission who is targeted by 287G. These are not quote unquote invaders to our community, to use language that often is invoked. They are our community. They're my friends, my family, my neighbors, my children's classmates, my students, and just general fellow human beings, just as I would consider anyone else who lives among us. There's one more passage in the Bible I want to bring up in Matthew. Jesus says that how we treat others is how we treat Christ himself. The direct quote is, "Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." So let's think about what we are doing to these folks, using local officials to round up and imprison a nonviolent folk who will be tried by a national government. That's what 287G does, and you probably are aware that that happened to Jesus too. The man who did it was paid handsomely as well. So I guess the question I would like to leave this commission with is, was Judas paid in 30 pieces of silver or with $102,482?
Thank you. Okay, guys, he's losing his time, so keep going.
Yes,
Maybe just
the
save
next-
your applause to the end.
Okay, thank
There
you.
you go.
The next item is, it was initially P43. I'm not sure if that's changed, but this is regarding the ordinance to require organizations receiving county funds to sign a legally binding note that they are not servicing, what is the language, quote unquote, like people residing illegally in the county. So I've already emailed you guys with this, and I really appreciate that a few of you guys took the time to reply to my email. I want to, first of all, oppose this resolution and encourage you to do so, but I also want to raise a response I got, which I think raises some important points. One of the commissioners, Commissioner Fox, you emailed me back, and I think this is an important point to consider. So he said to me, quote, "How many illegal aliens are you keeping at your house? Are you putting your money where your mouth is?" And so with regards to myself, yes, me and my family are. But I would also say the same goes for the organizations that would like to receive this county money. I can't speak personally for every single organization in Knox County, but at least the ones that I've spoken to and a few that I've worked directly with that might be affected by this ordinance, they're full of people who are truly hitting pavement to serve these populations and make Knox County a livable place. And they're often not just as part of their jobs, but at great personal expense too. To insinuate otherwise reflects a kind of dim understanding of the work that the nonprofits and churches do that these ordinances are going after. I would encourage any commissioner who thinks that the local orgs aren't putting in the work to maybe consider donating or volunteering your time to see what it takes to care for the community, because it's really rewarding work. The email I received continued, though. It says, "You can spend all your money helping people to violate immigration law if you want, but there is certainly no way that I, the commissioner, am voting to use public money to do so." What an outlandish proposition. To which I would have to respond, where does that public money come from? You know, I pay taxes, and the same as everyone else, including people without legal status. Knox County gets its public money through sales tax, wheel tax, hotel tax, property tax, and those sorts of things. And last I checked, you don't get to opt out of those depending on your immigration status. So public money belongs to all of us. And what I would like to propose is the really outlandish proposition is the idea that we should carve out classes of taxpayers who should not be served by public money. What happens when you take this idea to its furthest logical conclusion, that nothing that receives public county money should do anything to benefit an undocumented resident? Should people without legal status be barred from our roads, our libraries, and schools? Should they be denied access to hospitals? Should their utilities be cut off? There are those in Tennessee who would say so, including some of our legislature, unfortunately, and they've called for those measures, but others have called that ethnic cleansing, and I really hope that the county commission would not go down that path. So thank you.
Thank you.
This is the final item.
Last one, yep.
Yeah, this is on the related item, P44, which I believe is just specifically about the hotel tax, with regards to the same issue of whether or not organizations can accept county money while servicing folks who don't have legal status. And so the last thing that I would like to say on just this general issue is that U.S. immigration law is really famously arcane, and being in violation of it is a slippery and complex category that I don't really think that the county or a lot of our organizations are prepared to deal with. So are people awaiting court hearings for their asylum claims in violation of immigrant law? I mean, that could take years. Are DACA recipients who are always just an executive order away from their status being deactivated, can they be in violation of the law based on this ordinance? Student visas are famously fickle and can be subject to reevaluation on a semester-by-semester basis. How easy would it be to accidentally fall into violation there for a time? Temporary protected status is also really unpredictable. Just a month or two ago, the federal government wiped out around 200,000 Venezuelan immigrants' protected status. And so I suppose the whims of presidential administrations could potentially put people in violation as well. And that's not even bringing up how each of these types of immigration status would have different paperwork and different ways of verifying their veracity, were the county to actually move toward the procedure suggested by these ordinances. And I just truly don't think that logistically the county nor these organizations should be held to that task. It seems very onerous and bureaucratic and difficult to manage for something that in the past has been fairly seamless. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. O'Malley. Mr. Matthew Nance.
Good evening. Matthew Nance, Knox County. First, I want to say that a year ago, my family and I considered taking a refugee family into our home, and we reached out to the O'Malleys for their experience in hosting refugees in their home. So yes, he does practice what he preaches. Tonight, I earned my degrees in theology here. I served 6 years in inner city ministry and 3 as a volunteer police chaplain. I then spent 8 years as a missionary in the Middle East before returning home. Tonight, I speak as a citizen, as a Christian, and as one who fears what happens when a people lose their way and forget who they are. Before you is a measure requiring nonprofit directors to swear that their organization never aids anyone residing in, staying in, or visiting Knox County while out of step with immigration law. And I tell you tonight, this ordinance is sin. What Jesus called a whitewashed tomb, shiny on the outside but reeking of death within. You are proposing to penalize Knoxvillians for being good. You would turn food pantries, clinics, and shelters into checkpoints, and faithful servants into informants. You would threaten directors for refusing to betray what Christ commands, to feed the hungry, welcome the stranger, and heal the wounded. Jesus tells us a story. A man was beaten and left for dead. A priest came, then a Levite, lawful men with credentials, men who could get themselves elected to county commission, but they crossed the road to avoid the bleeding man. The one who stopped was the foreigner, the outsider, the man despised by Jesus' people. He bound the wounds and paid the bill. Jesus said that that man was the neighbor, and he was the one worthy of eternal life and tells us to do likewise. Your ordinance would teach this county to do otherwise. We were taught in Sunday school to follow the example of the Good Samaritan. You are proposing to punish us for it. Not only would we become the priest and the Levite who turned away, You would have us go back and call the police on the Samaritan for stopping to help. Do not deputize my neighbors to police compassion. Do not force them to decide who is human enough to help. Do not demand an oath that sears the conscience so government can feel in control. Do not enlist us to serve the hate in your heart. You think you are guarding the gates of the county, but you would be slamming shut the gates of mercy. And when those gates close, judgment does not fall on the stranger, it falls on the city. The blood of the beaten man cried out from the roadside, and the Lord heard. If this passes, the cries will rise again. From children turned away from clinics, from families refused food, and the Lord will hear that too. Withdraw this ordinance. Repent of the fear and hatred that birthed it. Stop pretending cruelty is good governance. So tonight, vote no on first reading and cast this sin back into the dark place it came from. The Lord watches over the foreigners, but he frustrates the ways of the wicked. Psalm 146. And he will not bless a law that punishes us for kindness towards them. Choose to be good neighbors again.
Okay, next speaker, Jonathan Haskell.
Good evening, Commissioners. Jonathan Haskell, 3310 Ashland Avenue in Knoxville. I'm here to speak tonight in opposition to Ordinance O-25-10-101, particularly the provision requiring nonprofit organizations to ensure that none of their funds will benefit our undocumented neighbors. I have been in vocational ministry for more than 30 years. I've served as a pastor, as a cross-cultural missionary, and now for nearly 20 years in nonprofit leadership here in Knoxville. With that background, I want to say this clearly. This ordinance is anti-gospel. This ordinance is anti-Jesus. This ordinance is anti-good news. In his very first public message, Jesus enraged his audience by declaring that the good news of his kingdom was not exclusive, but it was for everyone, even the outsiders. He later taught that the entire law could be summed up in two commands: love God and love neighbor. In Luke 10, when a religious scholar looking for a loophole asked, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus told the familiar story of the Good Samaritan. Today, the question has simply changed form. Are they here legally? Is the new "who is my neighbor?" Finally, in Matthew 25, Jesus says he will separate true followers from false ones based on the way they treat the most vulnerable: the hungry, the thirsty, the sick, the imprisoned, and the foreigner. By this standard, how we treat immigrant neighbors is not optional for us as Christians. It is central to what it means to follow Christ. This ordinance, in effect, would force me and others like me into choosing between accepting county funds or practicing my Christian faith. For me, that choice is clear. I would rather walk away from county support than compromise my Christian faith or abandon the command to love my neighbor. But I know for many of my colleagues here in the nonprofit community who depend on these funds, this decision is a much more painful one. Beyond the moral and faith imperative is the matter of wise use of resources. Nonprofit support accounts for less than 1% of this county's budget, and the amount that reaches undocumented immigrants is an even smaller fraction. Yet this ordinance will undoubtedly cost more to enforce, requiring new systems of verification and paperwork. Worse, it will make it harder for Knox County citizens themselves to access help because many of our most vulnerable neighbors do not always have ID. In the end, this ordinance will waste time and money, create barriers, and harm the very people it claims to protect. Commissioners, I urge you to reject this ordinance, not just for the sake of the nonprofits, but for the sake of all of our neighbors. If we want to be a county that reflects both compassion and courage, let's not enshrine exclusion into law. Instead, let's commit ourselves to policies that reflect the best of who we are and the values that make our community stronger. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Mary Beth Meadows. She's not here. She had to leave. Oh, she had to leave. Okay. All right. Next is Samantha Buller Young.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Samantha Buller Young. I live in South Knoxville. My comment is on the proposed ordinance O-25-10-101. I have two main concerns with this ordinance, Commissioners, specifically Section 1810. My first concern is enforcement. Every public policy has trade-offs. If the commission plans on enforcing this ordinance, that's going to take resources, and those resources have to come from somewhere. So my question is, how do the ordinance sponsors plan on enforcing Section 1810? Do you all plan to have the Finance Committee dedicate time to study the programs and ministries of nonprofits to ferret out if they have ever served someone who's here without legal status? If yes, will resources from the sheriff's office and the DA's office actually be used to pursue perjury charges against nonprofit leaders who are found to violate the ordinance? If so, how many deputies will be focused on investigating the flow of services to immigrants? That sort of investigation takes time and resources. Will those officers be taken off of, say, domestic violence calls? Will our county spend its time investigating health clinics and food pantries instead of drug dealers and violent criminals? You heard the Master Gardeners representatives speak about providing services to refugees, commissioners. Should they be requiring ID before their seed swaps? Before giving people seed packets or produce? Should they be requiring ID to allow people to enroll in their classes? Surely not. I hope not. If the ordinance passes on first reading, I, for one, would like to hear the sponsor speak to the enforcement process and what sort of trade-offs they anticipate will be made here. My second concern is that the ordinance might impose an unconstitutional condition on county funds. Without getting too much into the weeds, the doctrine of unconstitutional conditions is just the idea, which has been recognized and reaffirmed by the Supreme Court, that the government may not deny a benefit to a person on a basis that infringes his constitutionally protected interests. And one of those constitutionally protected interests is the free exercise of religion. As others have more articulately put this evening, for Christian nonprofits and churches in particular, I'm concerned that there might be a First Amendment free exercise problem with denying funds based on those entities providing services to undocumented immigrants. Throughout Scripture, Christians are commanded to care for the foreigner among us, so providing welcome, care, material resources, services to immigrants is an important part of the exercise of Christian faith. I'll be the first to tell you I'm not a First Amendment expert, but I would urge the commission to at least look into, or have the county law director's office look into this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next speaker is Laura Lyson.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Laura Lyson. I'm a Knox County resident. Just want to speak to you in a simple way about this same ordinance. I am a member of a local church. I'm a Christian theologian. I wrote my dissertation on the food and clothing relationships that connect American Christians with their neighbors. And I want to speak to you in a simple way, and many of you are my brothers and sisters in Christ, and I see you as such, and I address you as such. You and I have eaten today because of the labor of undocumented people, our neighbors. That labor becomes more unbearable, more horrible, the more that we exclude them from the circle of our human care, which is what this ordinance would do. Our neighbors have come here out of need. They pay taxes, and they often don't draw benefits. They commit crimes at rates lower than citizens. They come in the midst of an immigration system that has made it more and more difficult or even impossible for them to come or to be here legally as much as they might want to do so, and even if they have nowhere else to safely go or to feed their families. They come also in the midst of hundreds of years of bipartisan American actions that have depleted and destabilized their communities so that many of them cannot stay at home. Those of you who are Christians among the commissioners, you may already know, and again, you've been hearing that the Lord tells us in Scripture, we're not owners in God's earth, we are tenants and aliens. We don't have the right to hound the stranger and the alien until there's no more refuge and no resource left to them. Please don't force Christians and others of conscience to make this kind of decision. Those of you who are Christians, the Lord's voice is the only one that matters. It's the only one you have to hear. I ask you to just take pause, listen to him, listen to what he's saying to you. I don't think he's saying this, and I believe that maybe you know that he's not saying this. So I ask you as your sister to consider that. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Lyson. All right, next speaker is Tom Ruggles.
My name's Tom Ruggles. I live in Knoxville, Tennessee, District 1. First, I'm going to speak to issue E9. I am against the acceptance of this $102,000 bribe from the Tennessee Department of Homeland Security. As many of us here know, Knox County Sheriff's Office, they have a long history of partnering with ICE via their 287G agreement and their detention bed contract. Essentially what these are anybody who goes to the Knox County Jail can be frisked by the people in the jail, allowing them to be asked questions about their immigration status. And so this is Knox County Jail doing the bidding of ICE for everyone who enters the jail, but that's only the half of it. They also have this detention bed contract where they're bringing in folks from all over East Tennessee to house them at the Knox County Jail, using our tax dollars to bring in hundreds of people a month, literally, to do ICE's bidding. And ICE could not operate here in East Tennessee without the Knox County Sheriff's Office agreement with ICE. And as someone in this community, I am very disgusted with this continued partnership. As we've seen all over the country, ICE has been frisking and targeting people who are not criminals, who are people in our community that deserve dignity, that deserve respect, and are beautiful members of the fabric of our society. And so the question is, why is it that the county commission, the Knox County Sheriff's Office, are going through with this? Because we know that the lies that ICE is spouting are lies. The first one being that undocumented people are not paying taxes. They, of course, are paying taxes. Every undocumented person with a roof over their head is paying property taxes, either directly or indirectly. Every time they go to the store, they are paying taxes on the sales. Secondly, they are not criminals. As a matter of fact, the data is showing that over 3/4 of the people who have been detained by ICE this year, in fact, have no criminal record. And I would venture to say that probably 25% of this room has some sort of criminal record. So this shows that they're not just going and targeting criminals, things like that. They're just picking up people off the street based off of how they look. And this is not what our country was founded on. Our country was founded on immigrants coming here and being a part of our society. And I personally have had the pleasure of meeting many beautiful folks from other countries, both documented and undocumented. And so I would call not only for you to vote against this resolution, but also to end 287G in Knoxville and also to end all conversations with ICE.
He's got one more.
And secondly, I'll speak to Resolution P44 regarding the nonprofits essentially not being able to serve undocumented folks. Not only is this just completely not enforceable, but to make my previous statement heard again, immigrants are paying taxes. Undocumented immigrants are paying taxes, and thus that grant money is paid by them, and they have just as much of a right to it as everybody else, in my opinion. But what is more deeply concerning to me is that this goes against the ethos of nonprofit work itself. Us who do nonprofit work, we do that because we want to help people in need, regardless of their background or how they came to need service or what their immigration status may or may not be. When there is one who is hurt among us, when there's one who needs service among us, it is on us as citizens and as members of society to do what we can to help them. And we must also point out that nonprofits, why do they exist? They are filling gaps that the government agencies are not meeting, whether that is at the city, the county, the state, or the federal level. And I think we can best highlight this by looking at the Knox County budget, which allots $26 million to health and welfare, serving the people. But contrarily to this, there is over $108 million allocated to policing in the jail. And so we're spending 4 times more on punishment than we are on actually helping people. And as we know, people commit crime because they are in need, because they don't have the access to what they need. And so if you were to flip that script, I imagine we wouldn't really need policing at all here, because we would have people living here that have what they need. But that brings me to my final point, which is the irony of all of this. And my friend Alejandro Guizar Lozano, who was taken away by ICE just 1 week ago, someone who every Sunday I go with him and we feed folks in public housing, we feed folks under the bridge. And so the irony is these undocumented folks among us are helping people when the government are not helping them. And so if that doesn't show just an example of why we need folks, all folks here in our community, to be safe and not to be taken away through this ICE terrorism and to be targeted by this ambiguous legislation, let Alejandro's story tell us that. But it's not just Alejandro. There are people being taken away in Knox County every single day, and they too are fabric of our society. They too are helping people, and we need them to be here where they belong, in their homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Cynthia Finch.
My name is Cynthia Finch. I live in Knox County. I am a licensed social worker, and I have come out of retirement in 2017. I retired in 2017. I lasted 2 hours in retirement. So I'm here to speak against the ordinance first reading regarding the nonprofits. First of all, I'd like to ask everybody that is a commissioner and even the county employees, how many of you all have volunteered recently? Okay. Then how many of you have served on boards of nonprofits? And how many of you know people in your church that receive services from nonprofits in one way or the other? Well, that is the reason why I am here today as a person who runs a free medical clinic. We run a free medical clinic in our community, and it means exactly what it says, free. People pay zero to come to the free medical clinic. Now, do we get dollars from the Knox County or the city? The answer is no. And the reason why is so that we don't have to ask all these questions about whether you are documented or undocumented. Now, I was wanting to get the speech from the young man back there, so before you leave, I need to get that so I can just read that over and over and over again, right back there, to all the people in this community, because what he said was very pointed. And the question that I have to ask you, county commissioner leaders, is this. This, I think, is an attack on nonprofits. Are you going to ask the same of those businesses that receive county contracts and get dollars from county government? And one thing that I am reminded of is that the government, this is the people's government. These are our tax dollars. They're not your tax dollars. We elected you all to be good leaders. And I love the Commissioner Fox's pastor who talked about rule justly. He said it, rule justly. So I don't know if ruling justly and not serving people appropriately is what we elected anybody to do. Now, what I want to say in regards to the work that the commission needs to be doing, what I think you need to be doing is developing collaborated and partnerships, creative kinds of things and strategies to help nonprofits do more work. That's what I would advise you to do in your daily work as leaders that we elected. So 2 things. One is, if you're going to try to do all this compliance, what nonprofits know what to do anyway. In order for us to keep our 501c3 status, we have to have compliances, we have to have audits, we have to have all these things. So we're doing the work, and we're serving the people. But why go and pick on nonprofits and try to put together something here that would cause nonprofits to have to daily, in their work, trying to find out who is documented and who is not? Who is documented and who is not? That is a lot. And the young man talked about, how are you going to keep up with this? And what I advise the commission to do is to not create things that would cause more work on people. And how are you going to keep this compliance? How are you going to do that? How are you going to make sure that this is enforceable? So once again, the nonprofits are doing good work. And so if you're going to try to put these compliance and these conditions on them, you need to go and look at everybody that gets a county contract. Make sure that they're not hiring undocumented, if that's what you're trying to get to. Now, I looked at the budget here for Knox County, and then also all the senior centers. Are we going to have someone stand at guard at the senior centers to see who is going in and out those senior centers? So they get, I just counted up all the dollars, they get over $2 million worth of dollars from the county. Then are we going to be at the doors of the library and make sure that undocumented people don't go into the library? And then at the hospitals, in the emergency rooms, are we going to be at the doors making sure that every one of these health systems do not take care of undocumented people, because they get dollars, and according to this budget here, they get dollars from the county. So what we got to do is that you got to evaluate all the tentacles that this is possibly reaching, and to make sure that can it indeed be enforceable. So I stand here today asking you, first reading on 02510-101 and 02510-102, to vote no for this, because this does not make any sense. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of the people's time, and we need to be good stewards of serving. So I thank you so very much for this opportunity, and vote no for these particular ordinance. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Next speaker is Jeff Tallman. Jeff Tallman.
Pardon me for the delay. I was signed up for a non-agenda item, but here we are. Thank you so much. Jeff Tallman, Jeff No Tax Tallman. I live in the city part of Knoxville, and I say that with some matter of emphasis. We all are asked, do you live in the city or do you live in the county? We all know that there's a city limit, though most people don't know where it is. And the way in which we interpret the question, I think, creates a false dialogue in our community. We frequently discuss the question like, gosh, do you live in North Carolina or South Carolina? As if they're two discrete places. And it's really harmful because we all drink from the same well. We're in the middle of a million-person metropolitan area. And we have, I don't think, the luxury of doing anything other than being as resourceful and creative and collaborative with each other as we possibly can. Now, I'm on the ballot for the city of Knoxville, 4th City Council District. The sales tax referendum, which the mayor's put on the ballot, I think is quite revealing in terms of how our community talks about what government should do, what citizens should expect, how we generate revenue in our community. And I think what I'd like to do with this moment with you is to implore you to let's look more creatively at how we generate revenue for the infrastructure, for the things that we more broadly agree upon that we want in this community. The sales tax, it frankly is inflationary. It's a choice. It's cruel. We're going to make our fellow citizens poorer by doing so. Our fellow citizens have suffered through 5 years of generationally significant inflation. I have knocked on lots and lots of doors, have received phone calls from many people. There's no room for so many people, fixed income seniors, retirees, people of modest means, wage earners. There's no fat on their bone for luxury beliefs. However, what we can do is we can generate revenue from assets that are underperforming. We honored Bill Williams a little while ago. Bill was somebody that supported me, voted for me. I spent 15 minutes talking with him. He was the heart of the community. Right at Bill Williams Drive, where you go up to Channel 10, right there at Broadway and Edgewood is a store. It was the First Tennessee Bank building, sold 5 years ago. The owner of that building wants to open a business. They have been trying to do that with the city of Knoxville for 2 years, 36 pages of back and forth to try to open a business. I'm sorry. That's crazy. That's a parody. What we need to do is work creatively to help that business open the door, because that's revenue for the city, but guess who else it's revenue for? Knox County. There are so many opportunities, and we need your leadership, the thoughtful people in this room, thoughtful people who may be paying attention to this discussion. There are so many opportunities to generate revenue from looking afresh, looking creatively at underperforming assets that are all over the place in this community. And you can call me and we can do an alley tour and I can show you big footprint revenue generating opportunities that are staring at us. And we need your help on the county side because we're in the city side and we are, I think, we need more stimulation. We need a little bit more imagination. We need a little less bureaucratic constipation for how we're keeping business from unlocking the potential in this community. Thank you very much for your leadership and your time.
Thank you, Mr. Tallman. Next speaker is Daniel Watson.
Good evening. Thank you all so much for having me. I'm Daniel Watson. I'm with in Knox County. So, good evening, Commissioners. As I said, I'm Daniel Watson, and for over 20 years, I founded and I served as the Executive Director of the Restoration House here in Knoxville. Just recently stepped down on October the 15th. For 20 years, had the pleasure of serving low-income single mothers in our community. And now I'm taking a sabbatical because, Lord, I need it. And for 4 years, I also served on the Knox County Board of Education. I've sat where you are, sometimes in this room, not on this body, but trying to balance fiscal accountability with the reality of serving people. And honestly, when I first saw some of this, I'm speaking to the two ordinances, I'm sorry, related to the use of funds. When I first saw this, I took it in good faith, and I'm more and more convinced that maybe it's not in that. At least one of you on this panel have served on my board when I was at the Restoration House. Also, another one of you, I had your kids in youth group over 25 years ago, so you know me and you know the heart in which I lead. And you know firsthand the seriousness with which we approached our work at Restoration House. Every dollar mattered, every report was thorough, and every family was represented with a sacred trust. I share your desire, if this is what it's about, for transparency and stewardship. But I want to respectfully urge you tonight to not pass this ordinance or either ordinance, and instead to postpone it for further study, to study those particular issues with nonprofit leaders who are experts in using these types of resources to both better understand the financial and human realities of this work. I first want to speak to the audit requirement, which I thought was an interesting add-on. It'll require nonprofits seeking county funds to provide a clean, unqualified external audit. I know there's a couple CPAs, I think, on commission. Audits absolutely have their place. When an organization exceeds $1 million annually, a 501c3, it triggers and requires an audit, and it's completely appropriate. That's the state law. It would perfectly align with that change that happened just a couple years ago. Before that, it was $500,000. But audits verify the accounting systems that follow generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP, and that leadership exercises sound financial oversight. That's what they're about. But an audit does not show how a nonprofit spends specific grant dollars, and it wouldn't. Audit reports summarize total income and expenses as rolled up profit and loss statements and balance sheets. They can't tell you whether $2,000 bought for food for a program was for seniors or school supplies for children or undocumented immigrants. For smaller nonprofits, those between $500,000 and $1 million in revenue, those who have not met that threshold, to be asked now to have an external audit in order to accept county funds, those audits can, for that size organization, can run anywhere between $12,000 and $25,000. Since COVID, those costs have climbed astronomically. That money is then being diverted from the critical service sector and the families that need it the most. Meanwhile, Knox County grants are already reimbursable. Nonprofits must first spend other dollars that they've acquired, submit receipts, and then wait for repayment. In my 2 decades of experience in Knox County's reporting and documentation expectations were already the most rigorous of any funding source we ever had, including the city and state grants. A reimbursement system is completely appropriate, and it will show you where the dollars are going. There is no need to force an organization to have an external audit who has not met that $1 million threshold. And then to say, well, if you've not met that $1 million threshold, maybe you're not the type of organization that's doing the type of work that we want to fund by Knox County. There's a lot of really good grassroots nonprofits who are closer to the heartbeat of the community, who are doing excellent work, and you don't need the biggest organization to get it done. So let's uphold accountability, but let's match the state's audit threshold and not exceed it, and design a process that fits the scale and capacity of those doing the work. So let's speak to the other major issue, which most of my friends here, and many of them are my friends here, and I really appreciate the boldness. And actually, I came in here ashamed a little bit of a couple of you for bringing this, but I'm actually more ashamed of myself because I don't think these comments are as bold as they need to be. So just know that. I wish that they were more. So Section 2, 588A, 10 would compel nonprofit directors, which I used to be one, to sign a sworn statement under penalty of perjury? You want to put me and other leaders like me at risk, affirming that no clients are undocumented immigrants. That is not feasible, And like we heard many times tonight, it is not just. Nonprofits are not immigration experts, and nor should they be. That's the last thing we need to become experts in. Now, some of them who deal specifically in that issue, obviously that's a yes. And they certainly should be asked to determine should not be asked to determine if any person has broken an immigration law or any law for any matter. That's not the role of a nonprofit. I don't need to determine if somebody broke a law in order to be able to serve them. How ridiculous is that? To require that this would place faith-based and community organizations in a legal and moral dilemma. It would create fear, we already have enough fear, among families already living on the margins. I do want that additional 3 minutes because I'm speaking to both issues. I think of one mother who came to the Restoration House many years ago. She came from a Latin American country. I will tell you, we did not ask her status, but we walked with her. And we walked with her in confidence, and she had no fear because of the way we walked with her. And she became a citizen, and she's giving back to this country. But I will tell you, she would have ducked and run if the first thing we asked her is, hey, can we see your papers? Many of the speakers tonight have spoken about their faith. Some of you have spoken about your faith tonight. We opened the thing with a devotion that was certainly Christian-oriented for those who have the Christian faith. So for those who share my Christian faith, this issue touches something much deeper. From Genesis 1, we learn that every person is made in the image of God. Every human being an image bearer, worthy of dignity and care. God's concern for people has never stopped at national borders. In God's economy, boundaries don't define who deserves compassion. Love does. Scripture repeatedly calls us to welcome the stranger, the foreigner residing among you, must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, Leviticus 19. And in Deuteronomy 10, God reminds his people, you are to love those who are foreigners, and for you yourselves were foreigners. And if you think the Old Testament's not good enough, when Jesus was asked about the commandment that mattered most, he replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. And here's what I want you to know, my friends. These are not separate commands. They're inseparable truths. We cannot truly love God without also loving our neighbor, every neighbor. And in Matthew 25, Jesus points to the clearest picture of God's expectation. I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. Then he warns that how do we treat the least of these is how we treat him. I will tell you, and I've also have had refugees live in my home, if immigrants and refugees are not among the least of these, then I cannot imagine who is. God's concern is not about the generosity for its own sake. It is about honoring his image in every person. So, the county absolutely should maintain high standards of transparency and compliance. I don't think anybody's arguing that. Public dollars demand nothing less. But we can do that with streamlining the application and reporting processes. During my tenure, we always worked with a great team in Knox County Finance and Grants departments. They're deeply connected to the community, and they are bound by the systems that are in place. The opportunity here is not just to add more paperwork, it's to make a system that's more efficient, more consistent, and more collaborative. And that's what I would ask you to do, is to pause this, go back to the drawing board, write something up that's not dehumanizing, but also allows for more opportunity to engage our community. So tonight, I'm asking you to uphold fiscal responsibility, align audit thresholds with state law, remove the immigration affidavit, and simply rather than complicate compliance. Let's protect both accountability and accessibility, because that's what our community needs. And I'm sorry, but the time didn't go to my next one, so I don't know if I have any time left. But the last thing I want to say is that as somebody who graduated with a major in Bible and has a master's in ethical leadership, which we spent a lot of talk about dehumanizing in that, I will tell you 25 years ago, after my Bible degree, I learned what the gospel really was. Every time Jesus talks about the gospel in Scripture, he never talks about it in terms of him dying, raised to new life, being buried, and raised into life so that we might have life. That is the inciting event of the gospel. Every time Jesus talks about the gospel, it's that the kingdom of God is near. and the kingdom of God is near is about today. It's about bringing his will on earth as it is in heaven. And I will tell you, this and dehumanizing our neighbors who have come from foreign lands, from oppression, is not bringing his will to earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. All right, our last speaker is Ruth Dolan. Okay, I don't see her. All right. Let's move on. Madam Clerk, next item, please. Oh. Yeah, we were gonna, yeah. If we see her walk in, we can always. All right. Approval of minutes of previous meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, one at a time.
Motion to
Rawls and
approve.
Turret, okay. No. All right. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Rawls, second by Commissioner Durrett. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Item number 35, line item transfers, total amount of $147,576.03.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jay, second by Commissioner Hill. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Next item is notary public applications. There were 204 applications received.
Thank you. Do I have a motion? Durrett and Hill? Okay. I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Durrett, second by Commissioner Hill. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Item number 37, spread of record, the Knox County Mayor's appointment of Herman Lathers to the Knox County Sheriff's Office Employees Merit System Board of Director. Term expires September 30th, 2028. Item number 38, spread of record, the Knox County Mayor's appointment of J. Perrin Anderson IV to the Knox County Ethics Committee. Term expires October 31st, 2029.
Thank you.
Ready?
Next item.
Item number 39, R25-10-111 is appointing a commissioner to the Knox County Audit Committee.
Thank you. Commissioners, I will open up the floor for nominations for the Audit Committee. Commissioner Russell?
Yes, I would like to nominate Commissioner Fox.
Commissioner Jay?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Thompson.
All right. So we have two commissioners on the floor, Commissioner Fox and Commissioner Thompson. We will start in District 1.
Commissioner Rawls?
Fox.
Commissioner Durrett?
Thompson.
Commissioner Oster?
Thompson.
Commissioner Jackson? Commissioner Russell?
Fox.
Commissioner Hill?
Thompson.
Commissioner Lee?
Fox.
Commissioner Thompson?
Thompson.
Commissioner Fox? Commissioner Jay? Commissioner Frazier?
Fox.
Commissioner Fox received 5 votes. Commissioner Thompson received 6 votes. So, Madam Clerk, will you read in the commissioner chosen, please?
R25-10-111 is appointing Commissioner Thompson to the Knox County Audit Committee, term of office.
Thank you. Do I need a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Durrett, second by Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next item, please.
Item number 40, R2510-112 is appointing or reappointing an individual and appointing an individual to the Knox County Ethics Committee. Terms expire October 31st, 2029.
Thank you. I would like to ask all the applicants that have applied for the Ethics Committee to please stand up just so we can recognize you guys and being willing to serve for a position in Knox County. We're very grateful for it. And sometimes we don't end up recognizing you guys when you come back up the second time, and so we wanted to do that this time. We do have interviews for 3 applicants that were not able to be here last Monday. Y'all are welcome to sit down, I'm sorry. Mr. Joe Carson, Sanford Edline, and Daniel Vasquez. So we will start with Mr. Carson. Mr. Carson, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you just want us to know.
Okay, well, I included the information on my application. My name is Joseph Carson. I've lived in Knox County since 1990. My wife served on the school board for 12 years, from 2004 to 2016. I was employed at the Department of Energy for 34 years. I retired last year. And for a number of years, I had the unpleasant but vital experience, I think, for the health of this community to be a whistleblower in the Department of Energy. So I am very well versed with ethics. I'm well versed with administrative procedures. And I think if this commission were to choose to appoint me, it'll send a message to the employees of Knox County that they have someone who's been through the mill to defend ethics. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Edlin? Okay. Mr. Vasquez? Okay. All right. Commissioners, I would like to make a motion to suspend the rule number 40 to be able to just roll call every commissioner and you put in your 2 that you want to vote for. So do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Durrett, second by Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We'll start in District 1. Commissioner Rawls, that's your top 2.
Biddle and Cook.
And we're going to give, it's going to take a minute. We need to give the clerk time to be able to write these out. So I don't want anybody to.
Commissioner Durrett.
Michael Biddle and Adam Cook.
Commissioner Oster.
Michael Biddle and DJ Corcoran.
Commissioner Jackson.
Did you hear that?
Driver. Was that Biddle and
Phyllis
Driver?
Driver.
Miss Phyllis Driver and Mr. Michael Biddle.
Commissioner Russell.
Mr. Biddle and Mr. Ruffalo.
Commissioner Hill. Mr. Biddle and Mr. Cochran.
Commissioner Lee.
Mr. Biddle and Mr. Ruffalo.
Commissioner Thompson.
Gary Enders and DJ Corcoran.
Commissioner Fox.
Mr. Anders and Mr. Corcoran.
Commissioner Jay?
Mr. Biddle and Mr. Anders.
Commissioner Frazier?
Biddle and Corcoran.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to change my vote from Adam Cook to DJ Corcoran.
Okay, thank you.
So that's 6 and 6.
Correct.
That gives us 6 and 6. So it's good. Yep. We're done.
So we'll just go with the two top.
Yes.
If they both got 6.
That's a 6.
Yeah, okay. All right, so the vote is in. It's Mr. Biddle and Mr. Corcoran received the most votes. Thank you all for being willing to serve. We really appreciate it. Appreciate your time and willingness to come down here. Thank you again. So, Madam Clerk, if you will read the two into the record. Oh, yes, we need a motion. I'm sorry. I got that earlier. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Ross, second by Commissioner Frazier. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
All right, so that is going to be Resolution 112, reappointing Michael Biddle and appointing DJ Corcoran to the Knox County Ethics Committee. Terms expire October 31st, 2029.
Thank you. All right, next item, please.
Item number 42, Resolution 804, approving the method of disposition, public auction, or negotiated sale for delinquent tax properties owned by Knox County, approving the sale of the properties for less than taxes owed pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated 67-5-2507 and 2508, and fixing the offering price of the properties.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Item number 43, Ordinance O-25-10-101 is amending the Knox County Code, Chapter 2, Article 8, Division 4, regarding receipt and disbursement of county funds and budget procedures for defined services contracts, establishing Section 2-558 previously reserved on first reading.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Russell, second by Commissioner Fox. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair.
I have discussion too.
I'd like to make a substitute motion.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to request that we defer item 43 for 90 days. I think it's very clear that we've got a lot more homework to do on this.
All right. We've got a substitute motion on the floor by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Durrett. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Russell.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure that not only last week, but this week, that I expressed that I have worked on the accounting and transparency portion of this ordinance since before the beginning of the year. I have met with both people in the finance department. I've met with Director Holden, had multiple conversations with her in regards to the accountability and transparency portion of this. My purpose here is simply to have accounting and transparency. I believe that we need audits of the non-for-profits. That money that the taxpayers pay is very valuable, and we need to make sure that it is being accounted for properly through audits. My father was a Baptist minister. I've
think I've told most of the people up here, he was the Baptist minister of a very small church. That church did a lot of great and wonderful things for the community. But the truth of the matter is that lots of times people that volunteer to help at churches and at non-for-profits do so because they know that the people who have established those non-for-profits or those churches have an open and caring spirit. And sometimes they're just not the best stewards of money because they do have an open and caring spirit. And so they're looking for the good in everyone. And everybody who volunteers at a non-for-profit isn't necessarily there for the good of others. We have seen that with the fact that there are people who sexually abuse children who are involved in various churches. So you can't just put absolute trust in someone just because they say they're doing good. So I just want accounting and transparency. I have championed for the audits, for there to be an accounting of where the money goes. And I put forth that ordinance. And I'm going to allow Commissioner Fox to address the immigration portion that he added to my ordinance, because I think he can better address that than I can, since that was his inclusion.
Thank you. Commissioner Fox?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm disappointed that Ms. Finch has already departed. I was hoping that she would remain for my comments. I appreciate entirely her position. In fact, I think all nonprofits should not accept tax dollars. I think they should be entirely self-funded through private means. That is how charity worked before the government began getting involved. Initially, I suppose you could say with FDR, but then with in the 60s with the Great Society and all that. And that's, of course, why you have hospitals named Baptist Hospital and Methodist Hospital, because you had private organizations providing charity apart from the government. That's how it should be. And I think, if anything, what has happened is that the government has crowded out, that's the term, crowded out charitable contributions because of the enormous tax burden, mostly from the federal level, created. And it also builds constituencies coming to the government trough to be fed. And I'm astonished. Basically, the premise of almost everybody who spoke this evening in opposition of my additions was that everyone in the world has a right to live in the United States, and every nonprofit has a right to public money. That's it. Those are the two premises. And then if you accept those premises, then all these comments make sense. But I don't accept these premises. In fact, there are numerous immigration laws passed by the federal government that make it unlawful to live in this country in violation of the immigration laws. And they also, Mr. Nance, make it unlawful to harbor. See here, Mr. Nance and Mr. Haskell, I think is what it was, makes it unlawful, and Mr. Watson, makes it unlawful to harbor people who are living here in violation of the immigration laws. And your beef is with the federal government. But instead, what you want to do is be a scofflaw. You want to shake your fist at the law and not change the law. And I'm going to get to the theology in a minute, sir, because you do not rightly divide the Bible. And I'm going to address that.
Okay.
So,
Everybody's had their chance.
And yeah, everybody's had, again, getting shouted down, shouted out. No civil discourse.
Okay, no, we're not going to do that.
And let's see here. That, by the way, that is a term of art from the Bible. That's 2 Timothy 2:15. And I want to address, this is probably be the only time that I actually acknowledge Mr. Huckabee. I don't know if he's watching online or if he is here present, but he sent me an email calling into question that my sincerity in entertaining all the statements made and saying I was looking at my laptop the whole time. I was looking at my laptop to make sure I had my verses and so forth in place, and other items I may bring up. But just for his benefit, let's see here. I wrote down everybody's name. We had Rashad Woods. We had Drusilla. I'm not going to attempt to Miss Drusilla's last name, Carl DeLeon, Michael O'Malley, Matthew Nance, Jonathan Haskell, Samantha Young, Laura Zeisen, Mr. Ruggles. I'm sorry?
No.
Okay, sorry, Madam Chair, I shouldn't have done that. Let's see here. Daniel Watson, Mr. Tallman spoke on a different issue. So, and I took detailed notes, and I was paying attention to every single word spoken, because I do take seriously your feedback. And I appreciate, by the way, that many of you have limited your discussion to the kind of dialogue that Charlie Kirk advocated for. That's how it's supposed to work. You speak your mind, and then I get a chance to talk too. So, and I wanted to mention to Cynthia Finch also. She said, has anyone volunteered? I've given over $200,000 of my time pro bono. So I know all about volunteering my time and in causes that I believe in. So that's just for Mrs. Finch's benefit. It's more than that. It's over $200,000. So the people that like to bring up the Bible and say, what would Jesus do effectively? First of all, the Bible, as I like to put it, is a book of personal piety, not public policy. Now, you can derive values from the Bible that you apply in public situations, but primarily the Bible is a book that is the gospel message to the world. And its primary focus is, Mr. Watson, to draw attention to the atoning sacrifice of Jesus Christ and the need for repentance. Now, Jesus said in Matthew 26:28, this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for the forgiveness of sins for the many. And then, of course, in Romans 10:9, it says, if you confess with your mouth Jesus is the Lord and you believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Now, if you're talking, so that's the primary message. The primary message is that every person, like it says in Romans 3:23, all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And if you want to have a relationship with God in this world and the next, you can't bridge that gap with good works or any other means. It's only by the sacrificial atonement of Jesus Christ, who died, who was the perfect Lamb. He was God the Son of God, and he died for everyone's sins. And if you recognize that you are a sinner and you accept that salvation, that atonement that Jesus Christ undertook for the whole world, then you will be saved. And then you can have a relationship with God. But the Bible talks quite a bit about goats and sheep. And goats are the ones who reject that. And there are many people in this world who reject, and they have the knowledge, and they reject the knowledge of salvation. So if you're going to talk about what the Bible is talking about, I'm going to respond. And I see lots of people having a problem with that.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
The ordinance doesn't pertain to, I know we had a lot of people speak to biblical references, but the ordinance doesn't pertain to biblical references. So can we get back on topic?
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Commissioner Barrett.
Yeah, we
Okay.
need to.
All right. Well, but I will say that Jesus' mission was personal and private sector, and it had nothing to do with him asking the government to give money to nonprofits or to any other organization. It was Jesus personally providing his services. So there is a misconception, to be as kind as possible, about what the Bible calls for governments to do. And tax dollars have a higher bar than any other funds. And if people don't want to be responsible for saying, look, there's nothing in my mission that gives money to people who are living here in violation of the immigration laws, then they can go get self-funded. They're not entitled to tax dollars. But if you want to have tax dollars, then you need to meet certain criteria. And I think this criteria is fair. We should not be doing anything to help people who are living here in violation of the immigration laws. So,
Thank you, Mr. Fox.
thank you.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Hill.
Thank you. the substitute motion on the floor is not about accepting or rejecting. It's about a deferral.
Right, and I would like to amend that motion, if I may.
You can't. We've got a substitute motion.
Right.
We have to vote on first.
I think that can be amended. I defer to Mr. Moyers.
Can't amend.
Yes, the substitute motion can be amended.
All right, I'd like to amend that to 30 days, Madam Chair.
I'll second.
Mr. Moyers, point of clarification. Wouldn't the original maker of the motion and the second have to agree to said amendment?
No, it's an amendment to the motion that's on the floor. So it, with a motion and a second, it would require a vote. Unless the maker of the motion accepted it, that would be a possibility, but otherwise, it requires a vote.
Okay, so Commissioner Thompson, we will be talking about the amended. What we have on the floor is the amended.
The amended
substitute
of 30
motion.
days.
Correct,
Not the 90 days.
correct.
Okay. Well, okay. So aside from immigration status or whatever, we're just talking about taxpayer dollars and making sure that they land where they're supposed to. Our current system is fairly outdated and we need to amend it. I've spoken with staff and, you know, they're on board with re-looking at this. You know, anytime you come out with something, it's not perfect the first time, and you put a few miles on the car, sometimes you need to tweak a few things and tighten up some bolts, right? And from my experience in dealing with federal grants, state grants, you know, Tennessee Ag Enhancement Program, anytime there's federal funding, state funds, you have to qualify for it. You have to prove that you are eligible. You have to prove that you use the funds the way they were intended for. And we typically have random audits just because the state's big, there's lots of applicants. So sometimes audits, check-ins are pretty random, but you know they're coming or could come. And, you know, they're in agriculture sector, if you're going to get federal grants, you have to have property that's registered with FS, Farm Service Agency. You have to prove that you are producing this crop, or you're in this endeavor. You have this enterprise. You have to prove certain things before you get the funding. And like within our CS, when you do a project, it's a reimbursement. So you do the project. They come out and they inspect to make sure it was done properly. They pay for certain things. They don't pay for other things. And so if there's money involved, everybody likes money, right? Every organization likes money, and you can never really have enough if you're trying to do things. And so some folks will figure out how to, you know, find the loophole, find the workaround to get extra money, right? And so that's where the screws just need to be tightened up a little bit, where there may be a few loose ends that need to be tied up. We need to relook at this. However, as was stated last week, the next review is not until 2028. So the current amendment to the motion says 30 days. We're gonna pass something now and see what the results happen 2 years from now, right? So we're not in a rush. We've got a UDO that has to be done before the results of this motion are going to happen. We have more important things to deal with right now than to rush this through and make it happen. To Commissioner Russell, thank you, okay? Because you have done this correctly. You've gone to the department, you worked with them, you asked the right questions, you said, let's figure it out. I think there's some holes, and I think you've gone through this process correctly. And I think you need to be recognized for that because you asked the right questions. I don't think that I don't feel like you're trying to rush something through. I think the spirit of this is we want to get it right. And it's not just about legal status in the U.S. Blount County residents are not entitled to Knox County taxpayer funds. Neither is Union County, Granger County. You may be a U.S. citizen, but if you live in another county, you're not obligated to Knox County taxpayer funds. And so that's the recipients of our taxpayer funds are, they're required to show that they're justified in receiving them. And so I was actually going to ask Commissioner Hill if she would be open to amending hers to 180 days to give us more time, have a few workshops. I mean, like I said, we've got a UDO to finish long before this is ever going to, any fruit of this is going to be seen. So that's my 2 cents, my thoughts. I think it's worth getting right so we don't have to continue doing this again and tweaking it again. If we get it right, this time, we can sit on it a while and let it run, because I have, from a fiscal responsibility perspective, our staff, our mayor, the office, they're not big spenders. We don't have wasteful spending in our offices. And I think if anybody tries to go through and apply for grants through the county, it's not a simple process. We're not freely just handing money out, but there are a few little loopholes and loose ends that need to be tightened in. So that's my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Rawls?
So the discussion is around the 30 days, but could a new motion be made? Could a new motion be made?
No, we have to do this one first. If this fails, it goes back to the main motion, which is for a 90-day delay. At that point, you could move to amend it, that number to whatever.
I got you. Okay. So my discussion around the 30-day is that 30 days is not enough to get this correct. We know, based on the agenda review last week, that there are a lot of pieces to both ordinances that are problematic, that need rewording, that need to be reworked. And we actually all agreed last week that we would take it to the table for 90 days. So I don't know why we're shortening it. This thing has only existed for us for a week, not even a week. And then it's been redlined. It's been changed multiple times within that week, and we still haven't landed on a version. And this version that we have right now that we're looking at is not good. There are pieces of it that are just problematic. Excluding the piece that has been talked about ad nauseum tonight, let's talk about the donor piece. The donor piece, as a nonprofit, no one shares their donors list. They barely share the donors list with staff. Why would they share the donors list with outsiders, right? There's these requirements that we're putting on nonprofits that just are problematic. So what I'm saying is, in this discussion, is we work with staff in a workshop, and I think Commissioner Thompson is spot on with 180 days, that we've got things to get through before we get here. This is not paramount. So that is my discussion piece around the 30 days.
Thank you. Commissioner Jackson?
I think everybody agrees we need, a delay on this. We want to workshop this. 30 days isn't long enough, but I don't want to be here any longer than we need to be. So I'm going to make a motion that we end debate.
Second.
Perfect. All right. So we have got an amended motion on the floor for 30 days, and that was by Commissioner Fox, second by Commissioner Russell. Was that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Sure.
Your Honor, I like that. All right, I'll take that.
I'm used to that.
I'll take that. I'm sorry.
Yes, my light's on.
Oh, okay. Oh, she was on there before Commissioner Rawls. Okay, I'm sorry, Commissioner Lee. You got the floor.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to ask if any of the commissioners served on a nonprofit board
And I think there's a potential conflict in voting on this if they do serve on a nonprofit.
Director Moyers, I will defer to you on that.
Would you ask the question again? I'm sorry.
My question is if any commissioners serve on a board of a nonprofit, that be a potential conflict to voting on this? Any amendments to this would be a conflict?
I honestly don't believe so, not under our rules, because they're designed to keep people from, basically from profiting from government contracts. I don't see how that would be a conflict. I'd like to have the opportunity to study on that, but my initial feeling would be no.
I just wondered if we can't have a commissioner be on the audit committee, if her husband works for the county, how can somebody vote on something if they serve on a nonprofit that would affect nonprofit spending?
Madam Chair, point of order. We're just debating a timeline. We're debating whether to delay this 30, 60, 90, 180 days so that we can spend more time on it. It's not.
I understand, but she has a legal question, and I feel better for Director Moyers to address it.
Well, like I said,
So there's not issues later.
I would like the opportunity to study that a little bit, but the simple fact that a commissioner votes on something that could affect them does not make it a legal conflict. For example, if you decided to, if there was we have a number of traffic ordinances that we've adopted. If we decided to change the speed limit, would everybody be conflicted because they drive? You know, I mean, it's not, I think it requires a situation where somebody might profit from that relationship. But like I said, I don't want to answer that question definitively because I haven't had a chance to really study it.
All right, so we are voting right now on the amended to 30 days. We're going to do a roll call vote. I'd start in one, it's fine.
Commissioner Rawls?
No.
Commissioner Durrett?
No.
Commissioner Oster?
No.
Commissioner Jackson?
No.
Commissioner Russell? Yes. Commissioner Hill? No. Commissioner Lee?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson? Commissioner Fox? Aye. Commissioner Jay?
No.
Commissioner Frazier?
No.
All right, the motion failed, 8-3. So we're back to our substitute motion, made by Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Hill.
Thank you. And I am glad to accept the recommendation of my fellow Commissioner Thompson to change that to 180 days.
Thank you. All right, is that good with the
It's the
second?
second.
Okay. Commissioner Fox.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That to me seems too long. I mean, I feel like this is just going to fade away. I mean, how are we going to ensure that when 6 months has passed, that we're actually going to consider this thing again instead of kicking it down the road further? And I thought the UDO wasn't coming up until about 6 months from now. So, to me, and I think this does have a lot of value, frankly, but to me, it seems like it should come before the UDO unless there's a lot of deliberation that I'm not aware of supposed to take place for the next 6 months on the UDO. Thank you.
Commissioner Durrett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 6 months from now will put us in April, which is right in the middle of budget, which I think is the perfect time to discuss this since it deals with our budget.
Thank you. Commissioner Russell.
Yes, I'm actually glad that the topic of budget was brought up. I find it interesting that when myself and Commissioner Fox asked for a mere 30-day delay when we had only had the budget for a period of 2 weeks, and it was $1.1 billion, we were told we had plenty of time to look at it. This is not near that magnitude of money, but we need to take 180 days to discuss it and look at it. I find that very interesting, that that's people's stand on it. When a fellow commissioner asked for a mere 30 days to look at something of vital importance, $1.1 billion, and we can't find 30 days, but we can find 180 to look over whether we should have audits or not. Just very interesting.
Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the sponsors of this and the next resolution, I imagine we're going to be right back here and on the next item. Just hear your commissioners. Just hear us. Every single one of the commissioners here tonight has said, we are happy to go do some workshops with you, walk through it in a thorough process. That takes time. Just listen to us. We've all said, we'll go to a workshop. We'll go through line by line. We'll have debates. If you get it done in 2 months or 3 months or 4 months and you come back and you have a consensus amongst 11 people, or at least 6 of the 11 people that have something that is well thought out, then we'll bring it back for a vote. But the process isn't, just take it or leave it. I mean, if you want to vote on it, go push a vote. Guess where it's going to go? So 11 of us have said, let's go have a workshop, but you work with the chair, schedule some time, we sit down, we walk through it time by time, and we debate it. That's all we're saying, and I think it's very appropriate.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, the 180 days, there's I don't remember which book it's from, but there was a quadrant. So you had the urgent and important. You had the urgent but not important. You had the not urgent but important, and you had the not urgent and not important, right? And how do you prioritize what you need to get done? This is very important, but in the scope of when the next cycle happens, it's not urgent, but it is very important. And since it is very important, we have the time to get it right. And so whether we did it in 30 days or 180 days or a year from now, it gets done. But giving it the little extra time and giving staff the time to work with us and us being able to workshop, and it may be a couple different workshops and sessions, so we understand, because there's only a couple of us that are attorneys up here, and that was a lot for me to try to read and understand, and I had to read it a few times. But getting it right, I don't want the length of time and the delay to give the impression that it's not important. Okay, I just reading through it and getting the emails and the social media posts and the deep dives and talking with staff, I'm like, okay, there's a lot to unpackage here. I just want to make sure we get it right. That's the only thing. That was the reason for the length of time. Not that it's not important, but just that it's not urgent and we have the time to get it right. So.
Thank you. Commissioner Russell?
Commissioner Thompson, I greatly respect what you just said, and I do appreciate it. And it is very well stated, and I appreciate that you understand the importance of this. I would say that if we are pushing this off to April, because we do only do the nonprofit interview per se, or where we actually have them come in and talk, and they're graded and all of that every 3 years. However, the budget is up every year. And in order to be just fair and transparent to any not-for-profit is what we are expecting from them in the future, in fairness to them also. I feel like that it should be done well before April, just so that everyone, the non-for-profits, the taxpayers, the administration, everybody knows kind of what is expected you never know. There might be a non-for-profit that decides that they want to forego the money. And so then we're in a situation, well, what do you do with that money? How does the interview process go? What is expected? I just think it's fair to everybody not to push it back to April, but maybe the 90 days would be a more reasonable. It's in January, if we could get this done in January. There also has to be 2 readings of this, which creates an additional 2 months. So then you're pushing it into June. It gives it a better opportunity for everybody in fairness to understand what the process is and for everybody to be on the same page. And like I said, I deeply respect what you just said, and I do appreciate it.
Mr. Thompson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, thank you for that. And I dare say it's safe to say that through this process, if we had workshops and learning sessions and education sessions to work with staff, I don't work in that office, but I dare say that they probably have some procedures for when someone doesn't take money, and I dare say it's very rare when some organization says, "Nah, we don't want the money." But I'm almost certain that they are diligent in looking at, because when they get their quarterly reports, making sure that the money is going where it's supposed to under our current ordinance. But I think if they have some guidance and suggestion of where we're going with this, if it's enforceable, I'm fairly certain that they would do so. But yeah, I just wanted to get it right. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to reiterate what Commissioner Thompson said and what Commissioner Jay said. We're all saying that we know that there's some things that need to be worked on. We just need time to do it, and you need to give staff time to do it, because that's not their only job. I mean, they have other things that they have to do that we require them to do. So I don't think that it, is any of us, we want to have transparency, we want to do it right, and we want to make sure taxpayer money is being spent. But when you've got to take into account, you've got holidays coming up. And Director Moyers, if this were to, this goes 180 days and it passes in April or May, then this is not going to go into effect until after 2028, correct?
Well, it would go into effect.
But it wouldn't be, we couldn't break contracts that we already have.
Right. Contracts that currently exist would not be subject to being undone or affected by this. It would only be prospective in nature. So if we had any contracts that came up prior to the 2028 cycle, it would apply to them. But as I understand it, most of the contracts we have go through 2028. So it probably would not become effective in a real way until then.
Okay. And I think that's why everybody's thinking this is not a tomorrow issue, and I just want to be upfront about that. And people do need to understand in the public, because as Commissioner Thompson has stated, there's a lot chatter out there, and I'm not sure that if people understand that we have a full-time staff that has processes and procedures that they have in place now. And I think that Jenny Holden is more than willing to sit down and work with us. She's been very upfront with me about it when I've called her. So I will be supporting the 180 days for all those reasons.
Point of order.
Commissioner Jackson.
We're going back and forth between 30 days and 90 days and 100 days.
Well, we're on 180 now.
Or 180 days. Now, Mr. Moyers, isn't it under the Robert's Rules of Order, can we not just make a motion to send it to a special committee made up of the entire board and allow the committee to bring it back to the commission when
It's not just under Robert's rules, it's under your rules. So, yeah, the commission can send this to a committee for study if it wishes.
And there not be any time limit?
That's correct.
Commissioner Russell?
This ordinance was brought forth by myself and then Commissioner Fox added on to it. If it goes to a committee for study, is it still our ordinance, or do I need to just keep bringing one forward every month?
If the commission assigns it to a committee, it's still your ordinance. It just would
Okay,
be,
so
you
it
know,
would be-
the commission would be tasked with doing
They
all
would
the
just
things
make
that have been talked.
suggestions, and I can
Right.
take them or leave them. Okay, I just want to make sure, because, like I said, I just want to make sure that the accounting portion of it, being that I am a CPA and I have witnessed so many unfortunate situations where money was meant for good and people walked away with it for their own purposes, I want to make sure that if we are allocating money for the public good, that it is going for what we allocated for. So as long as I have some input on the accounting portion of it, then however that works.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Frazier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to make a quick statement that I will be supporting the 180 days simply for the fact that we only received amended language to the ordinances for the sections in both ordinances at 10:06 p.m. last night. So that's less than 24 hours ago. And so I definitely need some more time. I've spent hours with community development. I've talked with nonprofit organizations. I think we all are working towards the same thing. We want an updated policy. We want it to align with our current processes. We want it to adhere to state and federal laws. We want accountability. Talking with one nonprofit even said, yes, elevate the accountability. We would be agreeable to that. So I hear everyone. As Commissioner Jay said, I'm listening. I might have been pretty quiet tonight. I don't feel well, but I'm listening, and I think we all want the same thing, and I think we can accomplish that with the 180 days and doing workshops. I would encourage the two sponsors to organize those and invite, as one speaker said, invite some of our nonprofit community partners to the table. I think that would be very beneficial, as well as our staff members, because we need everyone that this is going to impact at the table, I feel like. That's what I would like to see. And so I will support the 180.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion on the floor to defer to 180 days made by Commissioner Hill, seconded by Commissioner Durrett, and we will start in District 2.
Commissioner Durrett?
Aye.
Commissioner Oster?
Aye.
Commissioner Jackson? Commissioner Russell? Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Lee?
Pass.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fox?
Pass.
Commissioner Jay? Yes. Commissioner Frazier? Aye. And Commissioner Rawls?
Aye.
Do the passes wish to vote?
No.
You'll all stay a pass.
Pass.
All right, the motion passes 8-3. Next item, please.
Item number 44, O-25-10-102, amending the Knox County Code, Chapter 58, Article 3, Section 58-92, regarding disbursement of county funds levied through the hotel occupancy tax. This amends Ordinance O-91-11-101, adopted January 27th, 1992, and Ordinance O-02-6102, adopted July 22nd, 2002, on first reading.
Thank you.
Motion postponed for 180 days.
Hold on, guys, I'm writing it down, I'm sorry. All right, Commissioner Hill.
I am asking, is there any wisdom with this second motion to have a friendly amendment that would allow it to be turned over to a committee of all commissioners, headed by Fox and Lee, so that they can take responsibility for bringing to us and presenting to us exactly
I think you
what
meant
they want.
Fox and Russell.
I'm sorry, Fox and Russell.
I'll amend my motion to send item number 44 to a special committee headed by the sponsors of the resolution.
Okay. Is that good with the second? Okay. All right. Any discussion? Commissioner Fox?
If it's the will of the body to do that, shouldn't we make it consistent with both resolution, or both ordinances? And if so, then don't we need to revisit before the close of business the previous ordinance?
Commissioner Hill?
I would concur. I would absolutely concur that the two need to be put together. I just didn't process it before.
Might make a suggestion, then. I'm going to go back to my original motion, postpone for 180 days. The chair of commission has the ability to create a special commission at any time under the powers of the chair. So I'm going to go back to my original motion, postpone this for 180 days, encourage the chair to create a special committee to look at item number 43 and 44, which she can do without additional work or additional votes or additional discussion.
Thank you.
Good
Does
call.
the second concur? Okay. All right. So we have Commissioner Frazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a quick question for the Law Department. What is the benefit of calling a special committee? I'm just curious.
Well, I'm not sure it's really a legal question. Normally, you would send something to a committee to have a smaller group of commissioners look at an issue and come back with recommendations. So whether you do workshops on these ordinances or whether you have a committee that studies them, you're still going to be basically having these issues hashed out and recommendations brought back to the body. So it's just different ways of accomplishing the same task, really.
Commissioner Russell?
Yes, in order to make sure that everyone, that we understand which line items are of greatest importance to each of the commissioners, like if they have concerns. I think there were 10 of them at the end, some with B and C, or A and B. So in order for everyone to do that, I think what I plan to do, because I do want to hear the input and see where the sticking points are, is I do plan on immediately getting together with the administration and start setting up some dates for some workshops, and allow input by those 10 items. So if no one has any concern about item 1, for instance, there's not a whole lot of reason for us to spend a lot of time on that. So that is kind of the way I'd like to work the workshop. And I plan on being very proactive in that. So trust me, I will be on this, not tomorrow, but the next day. My husband has a surgery tomorrow again.
Commissioner Durrett?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate you saying that, and I understand where you're coming from, because that was the whole point of moving from workshop to agenda review. I do want to request that we get a full, not redlined copy of both ordinances with all changes that have either been added either on the public forum or whenever via email, before we start setting dates for this meeting, so we do have time to review the full unaltered ordinances, and also want to make sure that all commission is invited to the workshop.
Yes, ma'am. I definitely, actually, I planned on, I think Commissioner Fox had put some items on the forum that I will incorporate into it. actually send that to administration so that they have it, and then they can disperse it probably to us. I want to make sure that I follow sunshine, and that does create an issue. I don't know. I want to make sure that it follows the approach. I guess I'll put it back on the forum in that way, and then send another PDF copy to each person individually, just so that all sunshine laws are followed.
And make sure to.
And everyone, and it will be on, I will make sure that, that Drusilla sends out an invitation, not only a notice that we're going to be meeting, but an invitation so that everyone knows.
And make sure the law department is included in all that, so
Yes.
he
Well,
can be
and
up on what we need.
Just for the record, I did work with the law department too when I was going through the
Just to make
6-month
sure.
process.
I just want him to have all the questions that we may have. Okay, we have got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jay, second by Commissioner Durrett. We will start in District 3. And
Commissioner
I am
Oster?
a yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Point of clarification, we're voting on.
180 days.
Aye.
Commissioner Russell? Commissioner Hill?
You just suggested it.
Yes. Yes. Commissioner Lee?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson? Commissioner Fox?
Pass.
Commissioner Jay? Commissioner Frazier?
Aye.
Commissioner Rawls?
Aye.
Commissioner Durrett?
Aye.
Does the pass wish to vote?
I just wanted to, the reason I pass is because since it is my ordinance, I feel like that it's best for me to let the remaining commissioners make that decision, just in all fairness to everyone. So that's.
All right, it passes 9-2. All right, we have no ordinances on second reading. Public forum, I just want to make sure Ms. Dolan didn't walk in. Okay, all right, just want to make sure. Other business, do commissioners have any other business? I have got October 31st at 1 p.m. Is electronic voting training, so please try to be here for that. Commissioner Fox?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just briefly, because my previous comments weren't exactly on point, I do want to address a couple other things. The passages discussing obeying the law, Titus 3, 1 through 2, 1 Peter 2, 13 through 17. You know, it's one thing if you're saying the government's violating your constitutional rights or violating a tenet of the Christian faith, but a lot of these comments arise out of just saying, well, we don't like the law, and so we're going to oppose and act in violation of the already established law. And we want to use your tax dollars to do it, and I just don't think that's right. And that's why I made those changes. Thank you.
Thank you.
In addition to other changes.
Seeing no other discussion, we'll leave you with this. This is actually kind of, I picked this out before tonight, so I thought it's pretty good for tonight. One of the most sincere forms of respect is actually listening to what another has to say. So, no further business to discuss. We are adjourned.